Hey folks, welcome to the show. Before we get started, we're going to do the monthly and quarterly challenge recaps. So, November monthly challenge is Swiss Army Bot. With ITS 14 and Tachimotos seasonal rule giving sensor bots marksmanship, tactical awareness, and ECM Hacker -3, we'd love to hear from our listeners about how they've gone running these now very dangerous remotes. Send in your reports and analysis to us as a Google Doc to lossoflieutenant@gmail.com. And a random winner will be selected at the end of the month to win a blister of their choice from Toy Soldier Imports. Our Q4 hobby challenge is also underway. It's called ITS 14 Extras. So until the end of the year, we want you to paint up one of the ITS 14 Extras. This can be a SecDet CSU, a Corsair Bashi Bazouk, or a Tachimotos equipped toolbox bot. To enter, send us one before and up to 4 after photos to us at lossoflieutenant@gmail.com. We want it to be new for the challenge, so please do not share it on the socials before the end of the quarter. A random winner will be selected at the end of the year to win a small box set of their choice from Toy Soldier Imports. With that out of the way, let's get on with the show. Hello and welcome back to another exciting episode of Loss of Lieutenant. My name is Kevin, and on tonight's show I'm joined by fellow hosts
Jacob
and Nick.
That's not Nick. That's not a knife.
I got some hot takes tonight, so I was hoping to destroy Nick's reputation, but nonetheless, it's me, Val.
Well, none shall be so hot as Nick tonight, as he has the fever. He has the fever. I actually hope he doesn't have a fever. He does. He has had to give his apologies tonight, though, because he is not feeling well. But we hope a speedy recovery returns to Nick, and he will be on the next episode.
He passed a regen check.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's a high regen check. Like, I don't want to be rolling a regen on a Fizz 12. That's not great.
No.
Give me that Asawira regen. That's a bit more.
We especially don't want him to fail that regen because then he drops dead.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Dead.
No, we don't want that. We want a no wounding cap Nick. He'll just come back. So on tonight's show, we're going to be doing Ariadna fire team discussions. So our Patreons asked us to get back on the fire team chart update thingo, and they selected Ariadna as their preferred sectoral faction to cover since the new fire team updates. But before we get into that, we're actually going to have a slight change up of the show. So rather than cut into the recent games and hobbies, we're going to get through a few of the announcements because we have quite a few to get through tonight. So let's start with Slow Grow Round 2. So that is going to be hosted by Peter Henry here in Melbourne on the 27th of November at House of War in Ringwood. The first round was a huge success, 150 points. We had 26 players. So round 2, we're hoping for even more. So 225 points, no restrictions. They'll be played on a 32 by 48 inch table. The mission lineup is Acquisition, Supremacy, and Decap. Missions chosen due to the resemblance to the direct action missions. Tickets can be purchased via Facebook or on our Vic Discord server, and a link to the registration form will be posted in the show notes. Are you guys going to be attending that?
I am 95% attending, provided I got disqualified from the last one, so hopefully they let me into this one.
Ratted you out, and then Peter came on and was like, wait a minute, he played ISS before? That rat, how is he doing? How is he allowed to do that?
It was Luke ratted me out. Luke is Peter's brother, and I beat Luke last round, and he's like, I think he had a word. I swear to God, there's a conspiracy.
And then you came second as well. You came second in the last one, so hopefully you're.
Yeah, okay, we've been over this one.
Yeah, you'll take first on the next round. Jacob, you'll be going to it?
I really want to. I really want to try and get this logo going with my attack. We'll see.
Yeah, I was hoping to, but I'm going to be away with work for this year, so unfortunately I will be out, but looking forward to round 3. Speaking of next year, we have 2 very exciting events happening next year, 3 actually. We have, first of all, Road to CanCon. So this is the prep practice event for CanCon, which is happening at the end of January. This one is the Road to CanCon, and it's happening on the 7th of January 2023 at the Seabrook Community Centre in Seabrook. In Seabrook, yeah. Missions.
So this is West Side represent, isn't it? Because it's all the way on the west of Melbourne, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of like inner. I would call like Seabrook sort of inner west. Maybe it's slightly midwest, not west west. We're not talking Werribee west, but we're talking kind of middle west.
Yeah.
So it's not too hard to get to. I think if you do live at least in the northern or southern suburbs. But I guess it's a bit of a change for House of War, which is always in the east. And this is a bit more accommodating for people who live in Geelong as well, which is great. So the missions are supplies, unmasking, and cryogenics, which are 3 of the 5 missions at CanCon. Doors open at 9, finish at 6, 2-hour rounds. Tickets can be purchased again via Facebook or on the Vic Discord server. A link to the registration form will be posted in the show notes. So, and I don't know what the cost of that is. I think it's like 25 bucks. But yeah, it should be good. It's in a nice little centre, and it's being run by our local Ben. Right,
boy.
So I'm not going to this one, unfortunately either, because I'll be away. But hopefully you guys will get there and you can get some reps in for CanCon. Val, do you want to take it away for CanCon 2023, seeing as you will be at it?
I will be at it, and I will be at it to win. CanCon 2023, January 21st to 23rd, Exhibition Park, Canberra. So at the venue at the Big Con, amongst all the 40k and AOS players. It'll be 300 points, no restrictions. The mission lineup is as follows. Day 1, we get acquisition, unmasking, and supplies. And then day 2, we get supremacy and cryogenics, so finishing on cryogenics. You can sign up on the CanCon website, which is at https. So basically, yeah. So that will be, so that'll be a great bit of fun. Last I heard was 40 signed up already from all over Australia. Hopefully we get to 60. That'd be really great. And yeah, I'm excited. So
yeah, no, it's good. Glad that we got like 40 players for it. Hopefully, yeah, if you get to 60, it's really, really excellent.
I know we'll talk about it later, but I'm excited for the mission lineup, given the fact that you don't have to be careful about specialists. Like there's no firefighter or anything.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Hector made a good point, actually. Hector made a good point. 3 of the missions give bonuses to hackers, and 2 of the missions give bonuses to paramedics and doctors.
Okay,
so that's a decent way to split the missions.
It helps you concentrate your specialists in whichever way you're going to concentrate them.
Save it for later episode, boys.
Yeah, we will be doing a CanCon episode before CanCon, so we'll get into the missions there. But yeah, just at a glance, they all seem good. I love unmasking. I like cryogenics, supremacy, and acquisition. Great, so it's good. And then the last event is a James over in WA asked us to shout this one out because this one is called CanCon 2023. Can't go to CanCon, then come to CanCon. It is happening Saturday the 28th of January, which is the week after CanCon. It's 4 rounds, 2 hours per round, 300 points, 2 lists per player. ITS extras are, this is the part I find quite cool. Double deck for veteran players, played more than 5 ITS events, and reinforced command for newer players if you played less than 5 ITS events. So this is basically here to sort of make it a little bit harder for the veterans, make it a little bit more fun and easy for the newer players, and then hopefully together that'll create a fun event. Missions are Battleground, Cutthroat, Superiority, and Uplink Center. So the 4 direct action missions from the new ITS pack. Location will be at Beyond Odyssey Games and Hobby in Balcatta, WA. So the reason why this is called CanCon is because WA is fucking far away from Canberra. It's 4 or 5 hour flight, so a lot of the WA folk don't often make it over. So this is their little mini CanCon. Looks real fun. More information, head over to the Western Australian Infinity Facebook page, and we can probably post a link to that in the show notes as well if you're not on Facebook, for example. Okay, so
good work.
Excellent.
Work AA with the ITS extras. I think that's really clever.
Yeah, I like it. I like how it's
It's-
determined as well on your experience. Double deck
Yeah.
is double deck is shit, but
Is that the
totally-
red? Is it just forcing to play the red deck?
No, that's
No,
that's
it's
both
both
decks.
decks.
Both decks.
Both decks.
So it's like you could get shafted, you could not get shafted. But Reinforced Command
Right.
for newer players is quite fun, and it's 5 ITS events, so that's a relatively high bar to set, depending on how
Yes,
new you
I
are.
think most players will be new because I don't know, but there will be a few very much veteran players who
Yeah,
will fall into that category.
definitely a bit of fun there for the WA folks, so that's cool.
I'm
Okay.
still waiting for Ben Addison to come through with an announcement about an event in Qatar. I'm waiting for him to start up a scene there.
Yeah, actually, he's in. Is he in Qatar? Or is he in Dubai?
Yeah, I think it's Qatar.
Ah, okay. I thought it was Dubai. Oh well, the
It might be Dubai.
the FIFA World Cup's kicking off this weekend in Qatar, so I'll have to hit him up if he's there. All
Yeah,
right.
for sure.
What am I
He
doing
gets to see
now?
Messi, I think. His last World Cup.
Yeah, I am going to. Sorry, guys. We're going to move into announcements,
Sure.
and I am going to just do something real quick because we have a video, pre-recorded announcement from our friend Jordan, our Patreon Obiscus, and he has an announcement to make, and I'm just going to fire up here for you all, but I'm just forgotten to actually load up on the screen, so give me
I hope
2
this is
seconds.
a Rick roll. That'd be so funny. This is a Rick roll.
All right, so if you guys can just remain quiet while we go through this next 2 minutes. So this is Jordan with an announcement he wants to make.
Hi, this is Jordan, Obiscus from Canada. I just wanted to give a quick heads up about an upcoming charity stream that I'm doing for Extra Life the weekend of November 26th. Extra Life is a charity that raises money for children's hospitals, and to raise that money, I do an annual 24-hour gaming stream, which extends to a 36-hour stream once I hit a certain benchmark. If you have the time, please come by to keep me company, as I try to stay up for 36 hours playing games, especially all of you that are awake during the hours when the people in the Americas are asleep. I'll be playing a variety of games, including probably getting in some TTS to play Infinity, Song of Ice and Fire, or maybe even some Aristea. If you are so inclined to donate and support this cause, there are a number of fun incentives that can be seen on my Extra Life page, which I believe will be linked in the show notes. These range from picking what I play for a period of time, to making me do push-ups and jumping jacks, which I will say gets more difficult as you get past the 20 hours of the stream. Or, if you want, you can join Andrew of Blame Tim fame, who's trying to organize enough people to donate to prevent me from drinking coffee for the entirety of what will be most likely be a 36-hour stream. And since I don't drink energy drinks, the caffeine from the coffee is something I will sorely miss. As we hit donation milestones, I'll be forced to change into various costumes, including a golden disco suit, a la Mark Hamill in the 70s. If you haven't seen that outfit, Google Mark Hamill golden disco suit, and you'll know what I mean. If you have any incentives or milestones that you'd like to see added, please feel free to reach out to me. You can find me easily on the Lost Lieutenant Discord, Obiscus, and there's a good chance that I will agree to add it because it's all about raising money. I've already started doing some donated push-ups because a friend suggested that when the push-ups get donated, unless someone specifically says otherwise, I should need to do them immediately when I see them, including in the 2 weeks leading up to the stream. The stream itself will run from 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on November 26th to either 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on November 27th, depending on if we hit the benchmark to extend it to a 36-hour stream. Thank you for your time, and I hope that you can tune in to support this great cause.
Okay, that was an announcement by Jordan Brezer over in Canada, otherwise known as Obiscus. He has a really excellent YouTube channel, and he is going to be running a 24-hour gaming stream, possibly even 36 hours. So with all money going towards children's hospitals in Toronto. So that's really great, and I'm definitely going to try and tune in, especially just to see him wear this lovely, I'm just going to bring it up on the screen there, the Mark Hamill disco suit. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, there's a little thumbnail of it there on the screen. That looks fucking hot, so I'm definitely hoping to catch him on that. All right.
Good
Okay.
on 'em.
So with that, we have another. What other announcements do we have? Well, yeah, and of course for his stream as well, we will be posting links to his Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and the charity website in our show notes as well. If you'd like to head on over and donate, I've already donated. Everyone else should as well, because it's a great thing. He's been doing it for a while as well, so big ups to that man. Okay, so last announcement. Jacob, do you want to talk about what we're going to be doing in December? For end of year?
Yes. So for our end of year, sort of to send this year off, we want to do a AMA and Ask Us Anything. So our end of year episode is going to be an Ask Us Anything. Your questions can be Infinity related or not. No question within reason is out of bounds. If you want to know what our favorite ice cream is, or our favorite Infinity profile, or our favorite episode is, just ask. If you can send in your questions to lossoflieutenant@gmail.com via Facebook or via the Loss of Lieutenant Discord, we'll try and get as many of them answered.
And no questions about our tax history, please. Thank you.
Our tax history. I didn't know you earned enough money to pay tax, Val.
Yeah, actually, you're not wrong. Actually, I haven't spent much of my life working in hospitality, so you're actually absolutely right.
The tax man looks at Val and they feel sorry enough to be like, nah, let him get away with it.
Here's a refund. Here's some money back.
I've been getting paid cash in hand from every Italian store owner that I've ever worked for. So
Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, we're not going to get into politics here, but that, yeah, soon enough, you and I will probably be on the same tax bracket, which terrifies me. I mean, not good for you. Good for me.
oh shit! Well, that's how much attention I pay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so this will be great. This will be great. Yeah, it'll be great to get all of your input for the questions and the fact that it's Ask Us Anything as well. Hopefully, it'll be a good end of year celebration. So looking forward to that. And I guess we'll open up questions for it now, like from now until the 13th of December, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and we'll
write them in.
Yeah. I think originally I was just going to do email, but I know some people might spontaneously want to just post on our Facebook or Discord, and perhaps that's easier for them to get a question in rather than type us in an email. So we'll try our best to trawl through our various socials and compile all the questions. But if you can post them on our Loss of Lieutenant Facebook, don't post them to like the IG. I always get this wrong. IGC, is it IGC in Global Community?
No.
Infinity Global. Yeah.
I'll post up a AMA channel, text only channel, so we'll get some questions on there.
On
Help
Discord.
us, collate them.
That's a good idea. That's a great idea. Okay, and so then we also, as some of you were just talking about before, we have an email address where you can write to us and give us critique or thank us or ask us questions or whatever you want. It is an open channel for anyone who listens to the show. And we have had an email from James over in WA, who also posted about the CantCon, and he just wanted to feedback a little bit about a recent episode that we did. So I'm just going to read, not going to read the whole email because it's quite a long email, but I will just try to get the gist of it out. So he writes about the balancing act of running events for new players while maintaining a solid player base of veterans, and it's something they have been working on over in Western Australia. He says, our recent episode sparked conversation with their players on how to approach events going forward, and James has shared with us a schedule of events in WA until 2024. In it, they talk about an on-season and an off-season, where the on-season are more serious ITS events, concluding with CanCon in January, and the off-season is from February to August, focusing on narrative and new player events. The intent of this document is to give players a heads up on upcoming events, as well as structure the year so all types of events are covered, from competitive ITS to more casual hobby and narrative events. So, first of all, thank you so much for the email, James, and thank you so much for the feedback, for the fact that our episode sparked this conversation and that you wanted to share this document with us, because I think it's really, really, really great idea for building a structure of a yearly events. So what I like about this is it bakes in certain events for the year and allows players to plan ahead with miniature purchases, especially useful for time-poor parents out there. But what do you guys think?
That's great. I think WA are coming up with the goods. To be honest, I think they're booming since since Ben left to Qatar. So no, I'm sorry. I'm absolutely kidding. No, that actually sounds really good. And yeah, actually, I think I don't know where they got the idea from the off season, on season might be a sporting thing, but yeah, really clever, really clever. I think that's great, and good luck to them. I hope it. I'd like to hear updates how it goes. Maybe every 3-6 months. That'd be awesome if James wants to write in.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you can get a buy-in from, your local or what the wider community around you to sort of have that off-season, on-season thing, it's a good idea because it means that if you're, part of the many people that we've got that are playing Dadfinity, it's a good time to be like, okay, somewhere in the middle of the year, I want to go and play, and then the rest of the time I can, deal with being time poor.
Yeah, you're not going to miss out on as much. I guess the only issue with it is they center it around CanCon, but of course this is somewhat for the WA people because they can't make across to the eastern states every event. But we've got Nova Core in June, and then Burn City Brawl in September, and BrizCon. ResCon in April. So there are some big ITS events, satellite events out there that outside of CanCon. But I think if you can structure it in such a way that allows players to kind of go right, I'm planning for this big event, but I know that we're going to have some fun events in the year, because I think maybe at the moment Melbourne sort of do it a little bit ad hoc. We just go, have we got a gap in the month of this? Have we got a gap in the month? Cool, let's put in a narrative event rather than it being like a case of, hey, we know that in March there's going to be a narrative event, or in whatever month there's going to be an ITS event. So I think that's good to have it written down, and then players, like you say, buy into that and can plan, schedule buying minis and schedule painting things up as well. So yeah, excellent. Really, yeah, thanks very much for that.
And I mean, it can easily change like per state. We can set ours around Burn City Brawl, people.
Yep.
Other places, Nova Core and all that.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. Yeah, we could do that. So I think that's something that I think now that we've had our Melbourne Wargaming Incorporated, our not-for-profit that we're running in the state to help us run games, we might be able to take that idea and turn it into sort of an official document that we can update every year among the committee. But anyway, so moving on. On to news. All right, some juicy news. So let me just let me go to... Just going to go onto Discord and look up the Infinity the Discord, which has got a handy little part on it where we can go. Come on, computer. Sorry, my computer's running a little bit slowly lately. All right, we're going to talk about some. Sorry, what were you going to say, Bell?
No. Yeah, going on.
Yep. So we're going to go on now and talk about December releases. So December releases were just announced recently, and with them we have New Morans, McMurrow, New Morats, and Scots Guards. So let's go by the way which they've been written on our show notes. So first of all, we have the New Morans. Guys, what do you think of the New Morans?
I need to take a look and just remind myself, what do the old Morans look like?
They're good, but they're not great.
The old Morans were derpy as fuck, but they had capes, and people are bummed that these guys don't have capes. Basically,
I mean, yeah, I suppose you got the old sculpting style before CAD and all that for the old Morans. So yeah, I mean, I miss the little sort of like tartan capes they have. Or I don't know. I always think of them as like the African units.
Well, what's the Aristea character that's a Moran? Has it all?
Laxmi,
yeah.
Laxmi, yeah. So she has an alternate skin where she's looked like she's dressed up like a Moran. She's got the cape. She's got the tusks. Looks very tribal. But I guess realistically.
I mean, if you're really bummed about the capes, of all the things that are easy to green stuff or 3D print, a cape is it.
I think the main problem that people are having with this unit is they just look like Agoseals. which
Yeah,
I can
true.
I get.
I can see that. I can see that.
Guns are pretty cool though. The
Yeah.
one holding the two pistols, the pistols like
What
wrap
is
around.
yeah?
They're
What
pretty cool.
what is that? Is that a pistol?
Just a cool gun. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just a cool gun.
I'll take
Again,
a look at the profile
Because their
and see what
loadout
they're-
is just combi rifle or boarding shotgun, so I'm not quite sure what the fuck that is. It's supposed to be. It looks like an
They don't have
emitter.
do they not have like some sort of cool pistol?
I don't think so.
Nah.
Assault
but-
pistol or breaker?
I don't know, but they do look cool. But yeah,
I
we'll
think, and we saw the artwork for them when was it called Crimson Stone dropped. We saw a model which looked like a Moran, and a lot of people thought it might be a Moran. So it looks pretty similar to what these guys are. Morans.
Yeah,
They have flash pulses.
yeah,
Is the only other
the
weapon they
most I
have.
could think it's the flash pulse.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's just but the main thing I'm bummed about is they didn't re-sculpt the crazy koalas. That's a real disappointment. That's a real missed opportunity. I think then they could have done something really cool with those koalas. You know, if they wanted the Morans to look kind of serious, they could have made the crazy koalas look silly. They could have given them capes or made them miniature, I don't know, animals like. You know, I don't know, whatever. They could have done something with them, and they haven't, and it's a bit disappointing. But other than that,
Yeah.
I think they're fine. Okay.
I mean, like their heads are pretty cool with like the gas masks on.
Oh
and
no,
all
the
that
masks
sort of
look
thing.
really look dope actually. I have to say, and I do like their armor and the way they got the slightly baggy pants. But I mean, I don't know how much that will be shown in the paint job that people will make. I'm not quite sure. So.
Yeah.
All right.
But like I said, if you really want capes, guys, they're probably the easiest things. The green stuff.
Yeah. Next up, we have McMurrow. So he also he's had a bit of a glow up, hasn't he?
Hmm.
What do we think of him?
Oh,
He
what's
looks
his old one?
awesome.
I'm gonna stare at the old one.
I think when he came out, he kind of surprised me in how he looked, and then I googled McMurrow online, and the one that we know with the chain rifle over his chest is not the original sculpt. There is an older sculpt of him from like N2 days.
Got that.
You've got that?
One.
Yeah, and this looks like a callback to that original sculpt. The kind of skinnier looking dog. He's even like
derpy.
less derpy looking, but he's even got the same pose, I think, as well as the original model, right? So I think that's a nice callback. I never liked the most recent McMurrow. I just thought he looked too static, too small, too kind of boring. I know people liked him, but I never liked the old McMurrow. But like, what do you guys think?
I think he's amazing. I think I really.
What
really
do you like?
him.
What do you like about him specifically?
He just looks badass. I like the pose. I think the detail of the sculpt's fantastic as well. He looks powerful. I like it.
And he looks like, I guess, taller, right? So he's S6, so he is like as tall as a small tag, which is, I guess, represented in that model. It looks very, and I think someone mentioned it online that they're just trying to make him look different from the bears. So I think by making him look a bit more elongated, a bit like lankier in some ways, then he doesn't look as much like a bear. So I think it's a good differentiation, and I think it's a smart thing by CBs. But yeah, the sword looks badass. Yeah, he looks really good, and I'm looking forward to playing Dashat, so I will be getting him.
Yeah, I think.
Anyone seen Dog Soldiers, the film Dog Soldiers?
Fuck
like
yes,
film?
Mate. That film. Quotes from that movie still come up in my Facebook every now and again because I follow like some like movie buff Facebook people who will just like post like, what was it? It's
so
like what was it like? Maybe turning into werewolves like taking a shit. You know, you just gotta hold it in, or maybe it's like a piss. When you gotta go, you gotta go. It's just brilliant.
It's so good. If anyone's not seen it, fucking watch it. I've been trying to convince Dan and Taj to get together in Geelong and make a night of it because we'll all end up playing fucking Caledonians after that. I reckon.
It is so good.
I'm enjoying. I do like the new Mick Morrow.
Yeah.
I don't quite know why he looks like a little bit foxy to me, but
Yeah, I mean, he was a ranger in his dog,
Yeah.
like his human days. So I guess he's now a ginger wolf. I guess,
yeah.
right?
But admittedly, I actually had just as a side, I had my friend pick up my McMurrow because I got it in the city and I wanted him to get it for me, and he was like, "Oh, look, a cat." So I don't think you're gonna mistake this this new McMurrow for a cat. So.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. The old McMurrow looks like a fucking cat. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you mentioned that. Right. Cool.
And he does. He does look a bit cattish. So
yeah.
Can we
I
just
do
bring
enjoy.
attention?
Huh?
Sorry, can we just bring attention to how many different reacts this next one has?
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Like, This is,
Oh,
this
this
is so
one.
polarizing. It's hilarious. Look at all the reacts.
The new, yeah, you're right. The new Morat stuff is polarizing. What do we think? As a Morat
It's an
player,
interesting.
Val,
It's an interesting box considering it's not a like if these are all coming out as a box, it's not a single unit box. It's just a bunch of like sort of random dudes.
That's a good point. Because it's not a Code 1 release, so it's not like a booster pack. Although I guess you could call it a booster pack. It's a Morat.
All very.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 of those units are like staples.
I'm assuming the
one-
paramedic and the Zerat.
Yeah, and then the other one's just for Hugh. to be honest.
Which one are you talking?
The tire yacht, the tire yacht, the drop troop. That's for Hugh.
Oh, I
Nobody
see.
else runs them.
I love
Doesn't
I like
doesn't
the
it doesn't the tire yacht look like the little drop, the Nomad drop unit
the Tomcats?
that comes with that comes with things on the characters.
Zon Cat, whatever it's called.
Yeah, because it like doesn't that one have like the two?
It's got the
Like
it's got the same
fans.
kind of wings going on here. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get what you mean.
I mean,
Yeah, go on.
I don't particularly like the tire yacht is whatever. It's a robot. You know, at least it's got a better looking profile than the 012 release that we'll probably get to at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Like the new bike transform unit thing.
Yeah.
Like this one's got a dynamic pose. I really like the new Zerats. They're great. I think this one looks great. I don't know if you guys have watched Cyberpunk Edge Runners, but the what's it called? The Radic?
Only the first episode.
Yeah, he looks like if you take a look, his face kind of looks like Adam Smasher.
He looks like what's his face from Mad Max Fury Road?
Immortan Joe.
Yes, that's it. Yeah,
Immortan Joe.
Yeah,
I mean, I understand what people say about the way he's holding his gun is really weird. The bent elbow.
I think it could very much be the angle of the picture as well.
Yeah.
It could be.
I've heard a lot of hate for these miniatures, and then also the Morat range in general. And I think people just need to think that it's the way that they're painted. I personally like it, but I think people look at it and then they look at the way that the old Morats were, and they're like, too much color. Like I don't like their brain can't process it. And I personally think they look great. I really like all three of them. Really like all three of them.
Like I suppose I'd sort of land in that camp only because it's a big departure from the aesthetic of the old Morats, which was sort of like, if you could think about it, like hunting houses. They all sort of had an animal they were or like sort of a theme. So the Sogorats were like bulls, the Suriats were like beetles or something like that.
Okay.
Where these guys don't have quite the like the uniformity in the units that they used to have. But for me, it's just some of them are good, some of them are bad, and this one I'm just in the middle about.
I think
they're pretty good.
I like the new. I took me a while to figure out what those weapons were that they were holding, but apparently they're boarding shotguns. Who knew a boarding shotgun looks like that? Which I guess means that you don't have to explain to somebody that it's also a Red Fury, because it could be that too, looking at it. Like those boarding shotguns could be rifles. So big ups to CB for making a boarding shotgun look like any other weapon. No one's going to be arguing with you for that.
I think there's this weird thing that CB's done across like the entire range is if you see a drum magazine, it's a boarding shotgun. more than
Right.
likely.
Okay, yeah, because I look at that and go, "Oh, that's the Red Fury Tariot," and you're like, "No, it's
Or like
boarding
a,
shotgun."
or like a multi rifle, yeah.
Yeah, it could be any of
Right,
those things.
yeah.
No, I'm big into them. I'm not quite sure why they made the Zerat boarding shotgun. I mean, like, surely, right, Val, they want you to make the Zerat dual wielding combi rifle or something like the +1 burst combi. That would be more useful, wouldn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Or have
I
they
don't know,
already,
does she even get a
or have they
body
already
shot?
made it?
I think it's a flamethrower. I think
Yeah,
it's a flamethrower.
what's the one that came in the pack?
I can't remember.
I don't remember. But either way, it's fine. It's not what you see is what you get with Infinity, so it doesn't.
That's such a nonchalant fucking phrase. What the fuck? Like, do you just not care? Like, what's going on here, Val? You're like, it's fine. You see what you get. You get what you
No,
see.
no,
You
no.
get what you pay for.
The models are great. Like, I don't pay that much attention to like the actual gun that they're carrying. Like, I don't really care. It's more like the overall model. And to
Yeah.
me, the overall models are great. Like the overall, the pose and the sculpt is good. I don't really pay attention to what the gun is because Infinity's never really cared what the gun is on the model because you just tell your opponent what it has.
Yeah, no,
No one
that's
really looks at
true.
it.
But you know how like there are models, like I'm looking at some of my nomads at the moment, and like you've got a guy with a boarding shotgun. It's quite clearly a boarding shotgun or a chain, you know. So it's nice to having like not having to be like, wait a minute, what weapon's that again? And you can be like, it's what I told you it was.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
am glad to see the Rindak, and I'm glad to see that the background on the Rindak and the Tariot are kind of similar in that they are like Morats that are should be dead, but they've decided to like just slap some bits of metal to them and send them back out, which is
That's pretty cool.
badass. So that's
I
really
think
cool.
that's really cool.
So that's
We're
really cool.
almost getting an orc feel to them now.
Yeah, I guess
Like the robot parts.
that has been some of the criticism, I guess. But I mean, I think it looks great. And then sorry.
I was gonna say I think some people are just like getting used to the idea that they're sort of losing the like really regimented army focus, and they're getting into a more of like a we fight forever sort of thing.
Wait until you're like here we go. I mean, wait until we get the redone Datarazi. That'll make people real annoyed, I think.
Yeah, when they get underbites, that's when I'll agree with people's rage.
All right, and the last of the December releases anyway are the Scots Guard. So yeah, I dig these, particularly the guy in the person in the middle with the bandanas,
like machine gun, Red Fury dude.
That'd be like the shock marksman, I guess, right? Yeah, shock marksman, and the one's the SMG, and the one at the back's a missile launcher.
Just gonna remind myself because I do like the new look of the Scots Guards for the non-camo ones, but I do miss the big like camouflage cloaks that they had in the old box.
I guess you can still get those some places.
Well, I luckily got mine at a like clearance sale for like $20.
Val, do you have any thoughts on the Scots Guard?
I think I have to go with I have to be unfortunately in the camp of the whinging Nancy's and say that I missed the overalls. I really like those overalls. They were very cool.
Yeah,
they've got like sort of like rain riding jackets, and the old non-camouflage ones, if I can say that, look very similar. So yeah, I just missed the again, sort of like the Morans. I just missed the capes.
I think it's probably the weakest of the lot, but that doesn't mean that they're bad. They're just like the least exciting, I think. But I do like the guy in the middle. He is pretty badass. So that's great. And let me just close this again. All right, so that's the December releases, and then we did also get
the studio
update, which just dropped like this morning, I think it was. So we have a little bit of information here, not too much, but just quickly we'll just talk about the new war driver that has a mini now, or the alternate war driver, because the other war driver you get, I think, is only an exclusive release mini. So
I think it was a box or a book exclusive.
It might have been a book exclusive. Now you mention it, yeah.
I like him. I think he's really cool.
Yeah, no, I dig it. The hood seems to be becoming more of a. What's the cat's name?
The cat is Brinkley.
Brinkley.
Brinkley, yeah.
Cute name.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's a good name actually.
Oh, that's a cute name.
Yeah, it's my second day meeting the cat, and it's actually pretty friendly already, which is nice.
Oh, that's good.
He's walking around the couch doing this thing, like knitting or whatever. Like when the cat's
He's
do the
baking
claws.
biscuits.
Yeah.
Baking biscuits, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, you baking biscuits, Brinkley? He's very cute. Very cute.
Oh, very nice.
He's pretty cute.
Yeah, no, War Driver is solid. The fact that they're going with the hoods on them is fine. We've got a new Lei Gong model, which I didn't know we needed, but apparently this is the regular release Lei Gong.
Well, yeah, he hasn't had a regular release, and admittedly, the SMG is probably the profile most people take because it's got the chain of command.
Right. Okay. Not the shock
I-
marksman rifle. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's got a weird pose considering that I don't think has any like super jump or
No,
climbing plus.
doesn't.
He's very cool though.
I'm still
Very
not
cool.
sure because I know his like wing pack, his Zoe Gundam thing was an Aristea
Well,
thing, right? But why
I think
does
his
he have
wings
it in
are a
Infinity?
gun, aren't they?
But why does no? But yeah, I mean that's His wings were an Aristea feature. He doesn't have like an HRMC strapped to his back. Like the point of the wings are purely aesthetic in Infinity, and I just feel like if you're in a military sense, you're like your commander will just be like, get rid of the fucking Aristea wings because you can't use them anyway. Unless it's supposed to be a Blitzen, maybe I don't know.
No, it might be his. It might be what gives him albedo.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Oh, that's a
Maybe
good point. Yeah,
Could
that's a
be.
good
Feel
point.
going,
Could be.
albedo.
Then we've
Yeah, even then, I'm
got this nice little pack here that's coming out for nomads. We've got the Corregidor Fire. What's it called
It
again?
does move 6'2".
Corregidor.
Fire
Sorry.
Team Pack Alpha.
Sorry about Lei Gong. He moves 6'2".
Yeah, he does move. He does move 6'2". So
Yeah,
maybe-
but all of the
Yeah.
heavy infantry move 6'2". That's a fact
But
of
he
his
is
armor,
medium
not his
infantry.
He is
wings.
not heavy
He's
infantry though.
medium infantry.
He counts as an invincible. I mean, yeah, sure.
Well, he's not hackable, so that's the main main
That's
thing.
big, and that's big.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, so we've got the Corregidor Fire Team Pack Alpha. So, this just going back to the Morat pack. Obviously, that's not a fire team pack, but you can kind of see what they're doing. They're putting models together. In this instance, that can make a fire team. So we've got an Evader with Thorback, Wildcat with combi rifle and light flamethrower, and a Wildcat with heavy rocket launcher. So two great profiles. One of them is your LT. But yeah, what do we think of those? I think the Thorback looks pretty dope, and so does the HRL actually.
They all look pretty cool. I just can't make the screen big enough for me to really see.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
You might have to just jump. I can't. If you click on it, if you click on the, sorry, we're doing some IT here. If you click on the picture, it should pop up. Oh, sorry. Actually, that's what I should be doing here. My bad. Let me make that bigger. There we go. Oh God, I should have been doing this fucking ages ago. My bad. Right.
All good.
Yep.
Yeah. They look pretty good actually, from what I've seen. Yeah, obviously with a bit of paint and stuff. I know the thing with the CAD, when they give you this CAD sort of look, it's like it looks like all the detail really pops and feels a bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
When the model actually comes out, it like softens it a bit, which I think I don't know. That's my experience at least.
Yeah. It makes them look
true.
better.
I remember there was a big discussion. I think when the Monstrucker came out, there's a lot of hoopla about it. But a lot of people like it's catted a little bit tighter than it's supposed to be because when you cast it, it's sort of like the curves aren't quite as sharp.
Okay.
I mean, what's the? I mean, I like all the models. I mean, the pose on the boarding shotgun's a little bit. It's probably a little bit static on all of them, but you can't have everybody like doing pirouettes with a foyer back. But I think the guns look mean enough. I think they look mean enough.
Yeah, they do.
But as far as a fire team goes, I know we've already covered nomads. Just take a quick look. I just want to see like how nice that pack actually.
No, like each one can go into a fire team. They're not a fire team. Each one is like a key component of a fire team, I think.
Oh
Yeah,
no, the
fire
Corregidor
team.
fire team has Wildcats and Evaders 5, so
Yeah.
they do make up like an entire fire team.
Yeah, but you just won't likely do that. You'll probably have if you have a
Yeah.
core, It might have the HRL or the Fireback. Maybe a Harris might have one or the other. Anyway, it's options.
Right.
It's options. It's cool. It's fine.
Yeah.
All right, and then the big money that got released or announced like this morning, is Yon fucking Roadbot.
Yeah, he's cool.
So this is like, first of all, Roadbot. I mean, O12 are government, but they cannot think of anything more creative to call their things. It's like a transform. It's like a kid's cartoon. Roadbot.
Roadbot.
Roadbot rolling out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess like it's like a highway. That's nice. Yeah, it's like a highway patrol. Like every kid wants to be like a highway patrolman. Like at one point, as they're growing up, and they see like the big V8, Holdens or whatever.
Yeah.
Or at least I did.
So this is another transformer. We've had the Zon Nautica, we've had the Sujan, and now we have the Roadbots. So we have this lovely artwork. We have this quite fine looking dossier. The bike looks a bit weird, a bit small actually in this picture, but that's just the artwork. And then we have
it also has a tiny bike going with it.
And then we have
so cool. It's so cool.
This render, which has been divisive. Well, people think it's a bit static. I tend to agree. He's not looking particularly mobile for being a motorcycle.
When you draw something, you put like those streaks to make it look like it's going quick.
Oh,
you
yeah.
do that with like the paint jobs, just to add the dynamic.
Maybe people could paint it red.
Yeah.
I like. Okay, so we'll get. So first of all, before we get to the profile, let's just quick, like straw poll on what do we think of the render.
I mean, I can see where people are coming from. Like, he does look bored. It wouldn't take him, like, if you just had him leaning to the side a bit with like as though he's like skidding to a halt. Don't even have to really change the upper torso. So I understand where people are coming from when they say he just looks kind of not interested in being around.
Yeah,
I like it, to be honest. I think it gives us a monthly challenge where we can get people to send us in like the wackiest, the most dynamic pose that they can think of for these guys. They can like,
but like you got to compare him to what the Zon Nautica looks like, because as far as like what they are, they're very
as a benchmark.
Similar.
As a benchmark, I think Jacob's right. If you compare it to the Zon Nautica, which I could get up, but I can't be. I have to figure out how to get off this thing and put it onto it.
I've got it. I've got it. So here, I'll just
chuck it put it on the Patreon chat, please.
Easy for you there, but on the chat. But yeah,
just put it in the Patreon chat, because then I can go.
Where is it? I do have it.
Oh no, sorry. The end of your AMA is not in the Patreon hub. It's for everybody, so you have to move that.
No, I've got two. Oh,
I see. Oh, okay.
Just so we answer, we have to answer 51% of the Patreon and 49% of the non.
People who pay us.
Give them value.
Oh, you couldn't just put the fucking photo in there and have to go to the Google search.
So our fourth host actually made some comments in the chat which I missed. New sculpts are just agua seals with crazy koalas. One said says disappointing about how much they leaned in with the last May sculpt for us there.
You're making things difficult for me, Jacob. You could have just put the photo in the chat. Now I have to go to the website and then go click on the thing, and it's got a load of.
I think everyone's seen the Zon Nautica. That's not the Zon Nautica is not the new model.
God damn it!
Everyone's seen it.
I know, but like I'm just trying to get people to see it again, so we can actually look at it properly, so we can get our reminder of it. But Jacob's going to fuck that up. Sorry, I'm the host. I should. I should be doing this. That's
there, you big baby.
Thank you. There we go. That's what I wanted. Yeah, you're right. Like, you look at both of those, you look at the cool bike in the background that's got the rider, and he looks like he's moving places, and then the Zond Noriga Duda is like jumping out of his transformed state. Looks real good, and he's got big chunky wheels. And then you look at Old Mate, and he is not nearly as nice.
All right, let's look at the profile, I guess, quickly, and then we'll move on. Or
Yep.
that's the last one, isn't it? I think
That is the last
leak
one.
that they
Let
gave
me
us.
just bear with me while my computer decides to load. There we go.
Yep.
So the profile of Roadbot, which we don't know when it's going to be added to 012, but here it is. So it is. There we go. Okay, so Roadbot, Highway Patrol, High Mobility Form, 86 Move, CC9, BS11, Fizz11, Web 12, ARM 2, BTS 3, Structure 1, Silhouette 5. Remote Presence, Courage, Immunity Shock, Mimetism, -3, No Winding Cap, Transmutation Auto, Terrain Total, Climbing Plus, Dodge +3, and Dodge +2 inches. And then the Combat Form is 6-4 Move, CC18, BS12, Fizz11, Web 12, Arm 2, BTS 3, still S5, and it has the same skills but loses the Dodge +3, loses the Dodge +2 inches, and loses Climbing Plus.
I think those.
Let me finish.
Oh yeah. All right.
His profile, the weapons that he has got is basically choose between a marksman rifle, light shotgun +1 burst, or submachine gun Panzerfaust with drop bears. It's also a paramedic. They can also have that instead of the drop bears, have as a heavy riot stopper, or a submachine gun Panzerfaust heavy riot stopper with a side bot, which is similar to what you'll see on the Lawkeeper, who is a little peripheral that has a heavy riot stopper. So that all looks pretty good, but there are some questions which, yes, Jacob, you were just alluding to. Do you want to fill us in on what the questions that we have are?
I get the feeling the silhouettes are wrong.
What do you think the silhouette should be?
It'll be S4, and then S5's fine. It could be S6. I don't think it not changing profile sizes is strange. I mean, it could be, but typically considering that it's a bike, it'll be S4 and then transform into either an S5 or S6.
Yeah,
and be doing a wheelie the whole way.
It could be.
I mean, that would be why it's got
bring back the old school Coom riders.
That would be why it's got Climbing Plus as well. So when I saw that, I immediately thought of like Canyonero from The Simpsons. You know, when Marge just gets this, like, and it's this all-terrain vehicle that just literally just rides up a wall, and you're like, how does that work? It doesn't do it. So yeah, I think there's a couple of mistakes in this profile. I think you're right. I believe the Roadbot high mobility form should probably be S4, but there's also no motorcycle rule here on the high mobility form. So at the moment, this thing can take cover and can go prone.
Very cool.
So that's
quick question, quick question for Val. Its move in the combat form, is that faster or the same as the Sujan?
Slower. Oh no, in the combat form, faster. Sorry, Sujan's 4-4 in the combat.
Because that is freaking quick in its combat form. 6-2 is really quick.
Yeah. I think as well that I feel it weird that the Climbing Plus is in high mobility. I feel Climbing Plus should be in the combat form. So like basically what you get then is you get more speed and a better dodge in high mobility, but in combat form you get better shooting but also Climbing Plus to get places, which to me makes more rational sense. I know people are like, oh, there's no reason why the bike can't get Climbing Plus, and I'm like, I mean, there's plenty of reasons. It's got fucking wheels for a start. But the wheels could be sticky. I'm like, well, the wheels could be sticky, but then how does it move? So yeah, I think there's a couple of mistakes here. I think the motorcycle rule may need to be included. I think if they don't include the motorcycle rule there, it creates a weird exception to the rule that it's a motorcycle, but it's not a motorcycle. And then someone says, I'm going to go prone with my 86 movement motorcycle. And people go, what the fuck? and the
So
chaos ensues.
you're going 4-3.
Yeah, it's a bit odd. But yeah, I mean, I like it.
However,
Sorry.
I do like the inclusion of Climbing Plus, considering that it's got 3 profiles. Like wherever it ends up being.
Yeah.
I do like Climbing Plus for the sake that it is a paramedic, so
Yes.
it's supposed to be able to get into potentially to help out dudes in really hard to reach places.
Yeah, exactly. I know 12 and Starmada more broadly have a lot of Climbing Plus models. You know,
They do, yeah.
you know, you've got the Beta Troopers, the Bronzes, Bishi, and in this unit, all Nyokas have Climbing Plus as well. Everything is Climbing Plus. So the Zeta has Climbing Plus, for fuck's sake. So this thing getting Climbing Plus makes sense. I really like it. I think the marksman profile with the light shotgun +1 burst is really deadly because a burst 3 light shotgun that you can just, you know, zip across the table, and the fact that it has no one in cap and shock immunity means that it can just put 3 templates down and just try it again if it fails. And for 26 points, it's a absolute bargain of a profile. I was actually looking at today is that if in Vanilla 012, because it's a remote, it can be rem raced. So you can get a rem racer, and then this guy to give it like a +1 BS if you want to, or if you want to be big brain, you give it +3 fizz, +9 CC, and whatever the other one is. What's that again?
Can you give it armor with the Rem Racer?
Shit, I should have brought this up and reminded myself what it was. Rem
You
Racer.
do, I think BS close combat and maybe
yeah. So it is +1 arm.
BTS.
Sorry, I'm talking. +1 arm, +3 fizz, +9 CC. So that creates a CC 27 model with Fizz 14 in high mobility mode with dodge +3 and dodge +2 inches. So in high mobility form, this thing is dodging on a 17, 4 inches. And then in combat form, it's hitting you with a para CC weapon -3 on CC 27. And it's armor 3.
And with the minus, and with the -3 para weapon. That's wow. That's
Yeah, right.
Shit, that's actually incredible. And don't forget, because he's a robot, you can start him next to an Evo repeater and give him
Marksmanship.
Ignoring cover. Marksmanship.
Yeah. I just thought about the Rem Racer making him CC 27 and then just walking up and like hitting a fool and making them immobilized is kind of fun. But anyway, that's
wow. He's a hit piece and a half.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I mean, I'm sure he'll go through some iterations before he comes out, just like other models do. CB have a tendency of not getting things right when they reveal them the first time. No, not throwing shade, just as a fact. And then the other things that are off the studio update, not too much there really. It's mostly just the main thing actually is the FAQ. The FAQ is going to be coming up in the next week or two. And it will be asking our frequently asked questions that we've been having since whenever the last FAQ was, a while ago, I believe now. I can't remember when the last FAQ was, but it's felt like a long time coming, and there's been quite a few questions about it. I know, well, I suspect one of the questions that are going to be asked is about how bikes work in ITS 14. So that's going to be very interesting to find out what happens with that. Because, you know, the whole, like, cover, no cover, can you turn it off like ITS 13, blah, blah, blah. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but we'll see how that goes. So, anyway, that's that. And then we are... that's the other thing. Oh, yeah, sorry. Nick, who's not here tonight, did want to quickly explain the REM presence no in cap interaction because there was a few questions on our Loss of Lieutenant Discord. Essentially, like the Sujan, REM presence interacts with no one in cap. So normally, if you're a normal model, you take a wound. You can either opt to go unconscious, or you can opt to go no wound in cap, which means that you are in an unconscious state, but you carry on as normal, and the next wound you take after that, then you go to dead. No wound in cap and remote presence interacts in a way that if you get shot, it basically works exactly the same way, except that because remote presence gives you 2 levels of unconscious, you can effectively take an extra wound in that first salvo and still go no wounding cap. So if you get shot at and you take 2 wounds, normally you would go straight to dead if you're 1 wound with no wounding cap. But with remote presence, you will go unconscious level 2 and then go no wounding cap, which means that you're still on the table and still alive. Is that right? Does that sound right?
Yeah. The
correct.
main thing is probably just saying how it doesn't work, which is if you are unconscious 1 and go to unconscious 2, when you do that transition, you do not get to activate no wounding cap.
Oh, you don't get to activate it twice. You can't double dip no wounding cap.
Well, yeah, but it's also that you can't get back up if you've taken a wound in the unconscious state.
Sorry, what do you mean?
So if you're unconscious level 1 and you take 1 extra wound, you go to unconscious level 2.
Yes.
You don't get to, when going from unconscious level 1 to level 2, you don't get to say, okay, I'm now going to activate no wound in cap. You're still unconscious.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fair enough. Yeah, you can't activate it after the fact. After you've had the opportunity to activate it, you can't activate it after that fact. If you don't,
exactly.
If you don't choose to do it when you go unconscious level 1, you can't choose it to when you go unconscious level 2. So the Sujan already has this interaction. It's really fucking oppressive. Because it's I keep burping because it's already 2 wounds with no wounding cap and remote presence, so it makes it incredibly annoying to get rid of. So anyways, errors in the document, blah blah blah. FAQ to drop next couple of weeks, and then lastly, before we move to our recent games, we have hit 30 Patreons. So yay! Congratulations! Thank you to everyone who has given us money and supported the podcast and has come on and said hello on our Patreon. We really appreciate it. So thank you to everyone who has come and done that. And if you want to contribute to the podcast and give us some money and help us support, keep running the podcast, then you can go on to Loss of Lieutenant at Patreon. And for $3 a month, you can support us and you can keep us being the best podcast that we can be. That's
and
it.
help us send patches all over the bloody world when we didn't need to.
Yes, and actually, yes. And if you become a Patreon today, you can get a free Loss of Lieutenant patch sent out to you. And we have had a few people ask, are they special cock patches? No, they are not, but that's a great idea. And I will talk to my graphic designer about maybe getting some sort of tastefully done cock patch for our chain of command pledges.
Tastelessly.
No, we are a very tasteful podcast. I'll have you know.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So before we put Val to sleep, let's get on with the recent games and hobbies before we move to the main segment.
Yes.
Yeah. So much for us getting this first segment done in under an hour. Val, I mean, we had a lot to cover. Just fucking chill.
We did.
Val, do you want to get yours out of the way? Because I can tell that you are keen.
No, I'm actually not fucking keen to do this one. Because to be honest, I've lost every fucking game I've played recently.
Is it because you didn't have enough synergy in your lists, Val?
You weren't paying focus to the tempo of the game.
Okay, all right, that's just about enough. Thank you. Okay, so look, the first thing first. Look, I want to cover the store championships that happened in Geelong. Well done, Hector, you won. Who cares? Anyway, no, actually, I should show some more respect. So we had a store championships in Geelong where Throw the Dice put on an event. It was to wrap up the year for Infinity. We got 14 players. Big thanks to all the guys from Melbourne to coming down, especially for the road train. That is Josh Groth, who I think carpooled with 3 or 4 Melbourne players. So that was a big lift. So thank you very much. The day was taken out by Hector, to no one's surprise, unfortunately. I did not win. And there's a reason I did not win. I lost my second game.
Comes the excuse. What was that?
It was my second game. My second game I lost, and I lost.
Wait, sorry. It was your second game, or it is your second game?
No, in the second game of the day is the one I lost. So I won my first one against Jordan, a local player who was running Vanilla ALF. And then the second game I came up against what everyone refers to who everyone refers to as quite a nice guy, really. But I'm gonna actually bring that into question here because I'm sure all of you guys have played that game Amongst Us, where everyone seems like they're on the same team, but really they're wolf in sheep's
There's an
clothing.
imposter.
Yes. Hugh has it was my second round opponent, and he's won many best sports prizes. But I'd like to go on the record and say that he cheated me. He downright cheated me and took the win from me.
Do you want
Basically,
to back that up with some evidence?
Okay, yeah. So let's.
I'm
What's your
over it.
proof that
I'm
he
obviously
cheated?
over it. That's no. Basically, what he did is he won the game because I couldn't secure his HVT because his Cornac was securing my HVT and his Cornac was a suppression fire, but he had already killed Major Luna by that point, so he should have been in frenzy and not benefiting from cover. But both of us forgot, and considering the fact that I'm meant to be a more out player, I should have caught on as well. But I don't think it will actually change the game, to be honest. So so Hugh got up there and took basically dashed my hopes of being the store champion, which was very sad. But yeah, it was a great day all around, and
How many
Hugh is
players do
actually
you
a
have?
nice guy. That was all a joke. We had 14 players.
Oh, nice turnout.
When Cornac killed Major Luna, was he in a fire team?
No, it doesn't matter though. He was in the duo, but then he died. But then his buddy died, so he was by himself in the end.
I think it does matter though. If you kill something in your fire team when you're in a fire team, you aren't frenzy when you leave the fire team.
It cancels the frenzy state. Yeah,
Entirely. Like
Really?
even when you leave the fire team, you're not frenzied.
Really?
It's only if you. I'm pretty sure it's only if you make a kill.
now
when you're out of the fire team.
I think you have to be in the fire team over the end turn during the states phase, but I could be wrong. I'd have to look it up.
I don't think. Whatever. I don't think so. That doesn't sound right to me.
That is the interaction if you can manage to do it. I just don't know whether it's over the end turn because when you leave the fire team, you leave it in the state that you joined it.
Yes. So you
I
never.
I don't know.
You never.
I can promise you that's how it works.
Either way. And then yeah, I'm not sure. I really don't know. Maybe the FAQ that's pending might tell us, or maybe an FAQ
Or maybe
previously
reading the
read
rules
tells us.
explains the rules.
Yeah, potentially.
We
Look,
don't
like
know
I said,
either,
it wouldn't
so.
actually have made a difference.
Yeah, okay.
So the two lists both had Dil Memut. So I did test him out. He was pretty cool.
Was he the crane one or the
it's pretty
regular?
The crane one, yeah.
Okay.
He's a bit tricky to use, to be honest. Like he did some good work, but out of 3 games, he only came into effect in the 3rd game where he killed the Tikbalang in close combat. That was pretty nice.
He's a pretty good close combat specialist.
Yeah, he's on Monofilm Blade, and I made him my whatever. What's the new data tracker
Data
version?
tracker?
Yeah, whatever it was. And he had a decharge, so he used that to kill a Tikbalang.
Oh, Master Breacher.
Nice. Master Breacher, right.
It was funny actually. I played 3 of the list archetypes I hate, where they all have big scary things. So for example, game 1 had Achilles, game 2 had a 5-man pure link, full of heavy infantries, and that was pretty tough. And then game 3, I have faced a Tikbalang and a Dragos, which was disgusting.
So what would you describe those
rough.
3 archetypes as?
Well, basically, I just don't know. None of my lists are ever very good at dealing with like a single.
No. What would you call the 3 list archetypes that you just referenced there? So what would you call an Achilles archetype or something? Is that got a name?
I guess I don't know. I guess what I'd call it, I don't know. It's like whenever lists focus around one or 2 models. I guess what I'd call that is a mechanically powered list. I guess I don't know, like a list designed around mechanical power. I guess that's what I'd refer to it as, and I guess mechanical power coming from the fact that those models have mechanical power from their stats and their abilities. So yeah.
Okay, you've gone a bit dark there, Val. Are you all right? Is the power going
out? No, yeah, I don't know where was the
So
last
we need to put we needed to put the voice changer on Val. It looked like one of those news reports where they give him the deep robotic voice.
I want to play a game.
I told you I didn't want to talk about my games. I've lost so many. I've gone dark.
So so basically it was like one archetype, in which case the archetype that you would just define them as is raw mechanical power, either in the form of Achilles, a pain train or double tag or a
Big
tag.
blind. Yeah, tag. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay. So
But
basically, you can't
over the
you can't hold up against anything that's gonna hit you hard, is what you're telling me.
yeah, basically like if they've got like super powerful stats or have some super powerful ability like mim to -6, like I've only got often one thing very specific, and it's always one wound in my list to deal with it. Because I try to pack a tool for every single thing that I face, and then if it means I've only got one tool to answer that job and it's quite a fragile one, I have to deploy it well, and two, I have to get it. I have to make sure it's alive by the time I get a chance to deal with this problem.
No, it's
So luckily, yeah. So I don't know.
anything else you want to add?
I just wanted to add the Quangshi boarding shotgun is fucking amazing.
All right, okay. Let's give our listeners 5 minutes of this. What? Why?
In the link team that I've been running it in, it's actually come up really good. And in the last 6 games I've played, it's managed to kill an Atalanta, a Dragos, and an Asawira.
And what's the link team it's in?
The link team is 2 other Quangshi, the Quangshi controller with the smoke grenade launcher, and Zhi Zheng, the character, the wildcard character in ISS, who has mad traps.
And how
The
do you
diaphones,
and
dude.
how does it get the kills? Because it sounds like that nothing in that link team can actually attack anything from
So
anywhere after 16
the way it
inches.
gets Yeah, the way it gets the kills is effectively through the smoke. It can push up where it needs to, and then basically through mat traps, it splits their focus. So it basically forks the arrow. So effectively, if you throw out a mat trap and then you come after with a boarding shotgun, if they decide to dodge, you don't template them. You shoot them 3 times with a boarding shotgun, hitting on +6. So usually 18s or 15s, which is quite nice. So giving you a really good odds to hit. And obviously, boarding shotgun has AP, which is really nice. And if they ignore the mat trap, you're putting 3 templates on them, and you get an insurance on the mat trap hitting them as well. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It just gives them a really nasty choice. And having the smoke means you can actually deliver it, and having the other 2 Quangshis in the link as well, yeah, means you can kind of keep that link secure with those dogged Quangshi dudes on in the Vanguard.
Yeah, that seems fair
And
enough. I mean, because you're
and if
using
you
it. Sorry, Jacob, go ahead.
I was gonna say if you are close enough for that boarding shotgun, because you're gonna be close anyway, and you fuck up, you either go dog it or you just explode on them.
Yeah, they're exactly right. So
Yeah.
I know I've just had a really good
I
luck with him in the sense that
I think what you're doing with that link though is way like it's not so much the Quangshi boarding shotgun necessarily. It's the fact that you have 2 mooks with chain rifles that are
yes,
doing corner duty. You've got one model with mad traps and a combi rifle, but he's also your specialist, so you don't want him exposed to unnecessary risk. So then what you need something that can actually kind of gunfight, that has the ability to do face-to-face rolls, and Quangshi chain rifles can't do that. The
no, that's right.
Zijing guy you don't want to risk.
Nope.
And I don't think he's got a template weapon, does he? Or he's got an nanopulsar?
He's got a flamethrower +1, bro.
A flamethrower,
So
okay,
he's really nasty
which
as
is
well.
pretty good. But in the
Good.
Quangshi boarding
Yeah.
shotgun, you have the ability, you have a throwaway piece that can actually do some damage. So that's kind of, I guess, is where he becomes really useful, and especially with that +1 burst.
Yes.
Your opponent has to go, fuck, because if it was just a Quangshi chain rifle, you'd just be like, I'll dodge, and then they have to shoot you with a pistol,
Exactly, and I'll dodge
it's
everything.
like not that great. Whereas the boarding shotgun puts your opponent in a position where they're like, ugh, if I dodge, then it's hard. So yeah, I can see. What's the point difference in that? Because 5 points for the chain rifle.
It's
12
to
points.
7 points.
Yeah.
12 points. Holy dooly, that's a lot. That's a lot for
It is a lot.
That's a lot
It
for a
is a lot.
Quangshi, but because he's in a link team and he's got a purpose. It's not like you've just put him in there. Well, maybe you put him in there because you had the spare points, but you've gone and you've looked at the link team and gone, this link team's missing something. It's missing a gun that can fight, right? And then you've gone, well, what do I have? Oh, I've got a Quangshi. It's 12 points. It's got boarding shotgun. Do they have combi rifles? I'm assuming not.
No, they don't.
No. So I think that's the strength of it, and I think I can see that. I can absolutely see that because that's the same reason why I sometimes spend the extra point to get me a Jaguar with light shotgun because I want the ability to be burst 2 face to face. Not just have to
give
have
him that option.
the chain rifle. It's just me an option. Like, it's an extra point, and honestly, I'm using it for the EMCC weapon as well. But sometimes having that is really way more beneficial than having a chain rifle. So that's cool. I like it.
It's it's been really good. I'll just because I've had a lot of games, so I'll just quickly cover one more with I had
Lost
one
them all.
with Tristan.
Sorry.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, no, absolutely. So I played Tristan at House of War on last Thursday. And basically it was a really cool exchange at the start of the game where it was almost like a chess. It was like a chess interaction where he had McMurray behind a so his reserve was McMurray behind a building. My reserve was Major Luna. So and his very first order, so I counter deployed his McMurray. Effectively, his very first order was to jump up with McMurray and tempt me to take the shot and come out of camo, which I did.
Mm-hmm.
Killed McMurray. Then his
Wow.
very next order was to activate his Fidei, which was in the vicinity, and he killed Major Luna. So it was like we like really traded pieces. Like we basically traded piece after piece, like right there. Like we both knew what was up. He called my bluff. I shot. He died, and then I lost my pace as well. It was it was just really cool. It was just a nice little interaction.
Yeah, and I guess Luna's a good counter to McMurrow, and there's probably very little else in his army that you were going to reveal Luna for. So I guess he had to just bite the bullet if it was locking down a lane or making your life hard. So.
Yeah, and the way he couldn't deal with her unless she revealed because she was in a bit of a tight spot. Because I was my reserve drop. So no, that was really cool. We did have a really interesting rule interaction, which I'm just conscious of time a little bit, but I don't know, maybe we can cover maybe we cover it next time. What do you guys want to cover now? What do you think?
I mean, if it's, I mean, we can just like, I don't know, we can always throw it out to our patrons if you can't, or the wider audience if you can't answer it tonight, but you can just throw it out there.
Yeah, so basically what happened...
I was going to say, pop it in the chat. Let the patrons have an argument about it.
Just mention it now because you've said it already, so someone's going to ask.
Yeah, okay, cool. Anyway, whatever. So basically what happened was my Shen had to go past the repeater, and basically the repeater had the Barid and 3 other dudes. So I had the 2 relevant models. There's a Barid Hacker and Muyib Heavy Rocket Launcher. So as the Shen walked through the repeater, he obviously the only model that from that link that had line of sight on me was the Barid. Not the Barid, the Muyib with the heavy rocket launcher. So he was always going to shoot. However, because I have stealth, I'm walking past the repeater. The only way the Barid can hack me is so long as it is a 4-man link. But if he hacks me, he drops out, or because the Muyib's shooting, or vice versa. So what triggers when, and can he hack me? So if I chose to move, could the Barid still hack me, or would the stealth would my stealth mean he can't hack me because he's dropping out of the link, or the Muyib is dropping out of the link and making a 3-man? Does that kind of make sense?
So just to clarify, the link team that the Barid's in is not a 6th Sense link.
It is, because it's a 4-man. But when he declares his ARO with the Muyib to shoot and the Barid
well, it doesn't
to
matter
hack,
then. It doesn't matter then because you don't get stealth. So stealth doesn't matter to fucks.
Why don't I get stealth though? Because I'm not shooting.
Did you not just walk through a repeater? Do you not just say you walk through a repeater?
Yeah, but the Shen has stealth.
6th Sense removes stealth. You don't have stealth now. I get 6th Sense.
Yeah, but what he's saying is if you do 2 different AROs so that one of them drops out, making it a 3-man link.
Oh, I see.
Right. Yeah. No. He because of the all simultaneous, he loses 6th Sense. Because that's the same as if you decide to dodge and shoot in like a 3-man link,
yes,
and you lose your burst bonus. So he would have lost the 6th Sense and couldn't hack you and shoot.
Right.
I would agree, yeah, because by breaking out the link, you would therefore lose 6th Sense. However, if, let's just say, the Muyib decided to shoot, and then, I don't know how that would work, because...
I know, exactly.
In my mind, I'd be like, alright, well, the Muyib's going to shoot, And then the Barid can't activate, but you can't break the link out because nothing's because like the way that you think it would work is you would break out of the link, and then you would shoot with the Muyab, and then the Barid can't do anything, and then when you shoot back, then the Barid then hacks. But I don't think that works. I don't think you can do that.
You would do the you know how you can do like the speculative BS attack. It would be like that. You'd go, I'm going to hack with this Barid if you shoot, and therefore because you shoot and you lose stealth. Yes, you lose the sixth sense. That's gone already because you've already broken the link on that first ARO. He then shoots. You go, okay, now you've lost stealth. Barid can hack.
Yes,
right. But it's even trickier because when I walk through the repeater, at that point they're a 4-man link, so they both have a legal ARO. So Barid has to act then because he's got 6 sense in that moment.
In the same time as your first skill, right? He declares his ARO. They both happen at the same time, which means whether he has 6 sense or not depends on what AROs he declares.
Yeah, it's so tricky. I don't know. Anyway, we could be here all night. But so that was a really interesting rule interaction which happened, and we just couldn't. It didn't really matter because it was his Barid blew me off his Muya blew me off the table anyway with the rocket. But the other thing it affects is who drops out of the link, right? Because then the Muya is he burst 1 or burst 2.
You choose.
It's like. Anyway, it was a pretty interesting interaction. Probably the most interesting rule interaction I've had for a while.
Yeah.
And
that sounds good.
And then I played Hector on Monday night, and that was a really cool game, and I lost that as well because Hector.
All right, is that you? Is that you done? You done?
That's me done.
All right, okay, cool. I'm going to really quickly just talk about my game with Josh last night at Axes and Ales. A really great game. I brought my Rama out. I finally got them out of storage, so that was great. I ran a Maggie and Rafik duo, and it was really, really fun. It was really, really good.
That is a mean duo right now.
Yeah, having the 2 attack awareness orders on that link team, a Maggie who can obviously, she's a tag, and then a Rafik who can censor things, and then Maggie can then like spec fire like mines up there. Not that I did that, but that was definitely a point of me making the duo, and then reload herself is really, really nice. And you got a repeater there guarding Maggie was really nice. So she was really good in supplies. We played supplies. Paramedic pilot, baggage, and mine dispenser. So what she could do is we could walk up to the box. Pilot dismounts, uses 2 dice on 17 to pick up a box, and then remounts Maggie. Maggie's got baggage, so she can carry more than one supply box.
Really?
Yes. And then because she's got mine dispenser, she just like poops out mines as she walks back to her DZ with the thing.
That's so cool.
But what were you
I was going to say, you have to get out to get the supplies right.
Yes.
And the supplies would be attached to the pilot, and the pilot doesn't have baggage.
Yes, well, that's what I'm not quite sure about. I guess you could hand it over to Maggie. I don't know, because it's like when you go...
But you can't because the profile's the pilot now. The tag's nothing.
Yeah, so a couple of rules interaction came up from that game. One is, as you said, can, if the pilot... Because when it comes to panoplies... I'm pretty sure it just becomes, so I think actually this has been answered now you mention it, that when the pilot remounts the tag, it then just becomes on the tag, because I know that I've seen other tags with specialist pilots pick up boxes before, and it just becomes part of the tag.
That makes sense.
Which to me seems fair, right?
It makes sense.
The other thing,
give it to like the little hands of whatever robot you've got.
So that was really, really effective. And but the question that did come up during our game is, if the Maggie pilot dismounts, does it break the duo? Because the Maggie pilot is not under the duo.
It's still part of the Mother Reaper Guard.
I can make them
profile.
Yeah, I don't know if
that. I'd say the links. It's like if you had a like a transforming bike in the link.
I
It's
think
still the same profile.
I mean, we just played it that she doesn't break the link because it would just be too like, what the fuck do we do? Just play it as it makes it feels right. But I guess that's a question for people out there. Maybe they can answer it for us. Does it break the link? And then the last thing that I want to raise is marksmanship. So I think this just goes back to first principles with the game in itself. When you're calculating your ballistic skill. A lot of people will use shorthands, and sometimes shorthands will screw you up. So an example here with marksmanship is a Rafiq, for example, with marksmanship is not BS14. A Rafiq with marksmanship is BS11 that ignores cover. But a lot of us will say, we're all guilty of it, that it's got BS14. Providing you're shooting at things that are not in cover. That are in cover and you're in good range and you don't have any, right? So we had it a few times because I had a Zaid and missile launcher with marksmanship. I had 2 sensor bots with marksmanship, and then Josh had a Dakini with the Evo hacker on it with marksmanship. So we had an interaction which was, it was his Dakini that had been buffed with an Apsara, so it's BS13 and has an Evo hacker on it. So it was BS13 with marksmanship versus my BS15. My BS15 Zaid and missile launcher, who's also got marksmanship. The Dakini approached, had to leave cover to try to get outside of 16 inches. However, when we measured it, the Dakini was still inside 16 inches. So then we were doing the calculation, and we both were like, "What the? Hang on, are we sure we're doing this calculation right?" Because the Zaydin, for example, is BS15. But it's inside 24, so it gets no +3 range band. And there's no cover because it's not in cover. And it's mimetism, so it's 12s. But I was like, oh, it's hitting on 15s because it's BS18. But it's not BS18, it's BS15 -3 for mimetism. And then similarly on Josh's front, he was inside 16. So he was like, I'm needing 16s. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're needing 7s. And he's like, what? Because you're BS13 minus... Sorry, you're BS13... See, I'm fucking it up. No, not 7s. He was like BS13...
Hands.
He minus... No, sorry, he was just on BS13 because he had he was inside 16 zeros but ignoring cover. We were like, oh my god, how did we just muck that up? Because we were all like, BS18 and BS16. So it's just a thing out there for people to like just like when you're dealing with marksmanship, just go back to first principles and like just go back to what your BS is, not what your expected BS is, assuming good range. Because you're not always shooting good range.
There's no shame in Infinity on counting on your fingers.
Yeah, you're not always shooting in good range is the main thing.
I just count the +3s and then minus the -3s.
Yeah, and you're not always shooting at things in cover either, so you can't like, I'm BS18 anyway. You know. Anyway, it was a great game, and it was good to get Rama back out on the table.
Nice. How did it end up, by the way? Did you lose your game as well?
No,
Were you
I
a bunch
won.
of losers?
I won. It was 5-4 in the end. So I had 2 supply boxes and a classified, and he had 1 supply box and 2 classifieds. So yeah, 5-4.
Nice,
very close game. Yeah.
See, Val, you can win games if you just believe.
I lined up an easy game for tomorrow night, so I'm guaranteed to win. It should be pretty simple. Me and Jacob are throwing down tomorrow night. Though Jacob, I've got all my models at home back in Brunswick, so I'm thinking I might have to borrow one of your armies if you're happy to bring one. I know I'll message you after the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll have to see.
This is Val trying to hurry the cast up while then.
You know the fact that you're using my models. You know the fact that you're using my models means you're fucked, right?
No, it's the dice, not the models.
Anyway,
don't blame them. Don't blame them.
Yeah, your dice will know that you're using my models, and we'll just be like, "Nah, fuck you, Val."
All right, folks. Right. Well, on that, I think we're going to get into the next segment of this show, but we're going to have a quick break before that. So we will be right back. Has it stopped? Hello and welcome back. So we've had a quick break and we are ready to jump into the main segment, which is talking about Ariadna fire teams. So we have a few sectorals to get through tonight. So we're just going to get jumped right into it. So first of all, first cab with the rank is Caledonian Highlander Army. Jacob, take it away, mate.
Yep. covering the Scots. It's not Kev. I know everyone probably thought it was going to be, but it is me.
You look. I'm
Um,
sure you look good in kilt too.
Hey.
I don't know. Do hairy legs
I am
look
drinking.
good in kilts?
I am drinking whiskey tonight, although it is not Scotch whiskey, so that was a bit of a mistake. It's Australian whiskey, but it's fine.
It is very nice.
Yeah, so I think this is going to be a theme throughout a lot of the Ariadna sectorials, but the Caledonia Highlander army was obviously hit pretty hard by the fireteam changes. They don't necessarily have a great way of getting that pure fireteam bonus anymore. They do have some ways, obviously I'll get to it, but they go back to sort of the strength of Ariadna. They rely on single, cheap, hard-hitting, in this case, irregular pieces. So your Cameronians, McMurrow, Catarans, that sort of thing. And you'll see in a lot of lists, I feel like William Wallace, with his inspiring presence ability, is a linchpin of that army, turning all of those irregular guys to irregular troops, which means your 5-point Highlanders are very good order batteries. He is a target for assassination. Luckily, he's pretty resilient. No winning cap, shock, immune to criticals, shock immune, as well as a good shot, good in combat. So like, what's it called?
Sorry, are we going to go through the? Are you going through the wild cards now, or do you want to?
Just getting to the wild. I'm doing the wild cards. So like I said, you got 3 wild cards. William Wallace, who's sort of the bread and butter of this army, a good LT, can fit into a lot of fire teams, and is with high fizz, high smoke. He helps with fire team mobility. He's got a decent weapon with the damage 14 T2 rifle.
So good.
Decent weapon. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's a very good weapon. He's got damage
6-4 move, man. 6-4 move is what it's like.
Yeah, he's quick.
Unbelievably good.
He's got +1 damage in melee combat, which means he's got an explosive damage 15 weapon. Natural born warrior, which means screw you to anyone with martial arts. Immunity to critical, which is fucking awesome. In fact, I think the one of the times I've actually used him and he did get hit, it was actually a crit, which he was immune to. Light shotgun, which means he's got pretty good range rounds out to 16. Smoke grenades, which is great, which means if he's in a fire team, depending on what it is, he's throwing it on 17s. I mean, hell, if you get him into a pure fire team, what's he throwing it at? 20s, guaranteed to hit.
Yeah,
in good range bands. Next one is Isabel McGregor.
You're glitching out on your camera again. You just need to be a bit closer to the thing because your background.
Oh yeah, my bad.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So the next wild card is Isabel.
Yeah, Isabel McGregor, a hacker, which is rare in Ariadna, a linkable hacker. Does count as a volunteer, so she can get into that volunteer link. She does also have D charges, so she's good at the classifieds, good at obviously your hacker objectives, a nice spotlight ARO, which does help in just being able to shoot a bit better. And having a T2 rifle doesn't hurt.
Yeah, and the assault pistol as well, just for added measure.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah. So she's a really good profile, really worth it. A little bit on the expensive side at, I think, 27 points.
24 and a half at SWC.
And a half SW. Yeah, 24 and a half SWC. But I think really worth it in Ariadna in a sector, like in like an army or race that generally lacks good hackers.
Yeah, I mean, like the fact that she's essentially like a non-Ariadna profile in Ariadna. You know, the fact that she has EM mines and she's a hacker.
Yeah,
it just means that she just like ticks all those boxes for things that you lack normally in Ariadna, which is fantastic.
Yep. You do pay the price. You do pay the price for her, but I think it's worth. I think she's worth it. She is a good shot.
Compared to other hackers, she's reasonably costed. But yeah, she's a utility profile, like being one of those dire foes profiles. They often have more stuff than they probably need, which makes them more characterful, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, and some of the difos are a bit meh. She's not one of them.
Mm.
No. She's better than the Dartox, for sure.
Who is meh though? The next one. No, sorry.
Yeah. And the last one is First Strike Dawn, so the Wolver from Defiance, or whatever the thing that came out. Was it Xanadu Rush?
Yeah, Defiance. Just call Defiance. It's fine.
Yeah, Defiance. When you take a look at the Wolvers, which he counts as a Wolver, he's just sort of a little bit of a beefed up Wolver. He's a bit expensive again for what he is. You can just take the T2 rifle Wolver and sort of get the same sort of thing out of him. He is a little bit better though with martial arts 2 instead of 1. I don't know if he's extra.
I mean,
it's the same.
I mean, the fact that just like skipping over all those things, the fact that he's got an APT2CC weapon.
I was about to say that is.
Yeah, with Berserk plus 3,
dangerous.
Like he's good, but his problem is he's expensive, and he'll only really feature if you are taking a Wolver fire team, I think, because otherwise you're just probably taking Wallace and your plethora of other great CC specialists.
I'll get to that when I get to the Wolver fire team. So you can take him, but I'd probably just take another a cheaper Wolver, right? And you get back the same out of them.
Are we really calling a 32-point model expensive?
Have you seen the cost of the profiles in the Scottish Army?
Yeah.
In the CHA?
That's a motherfucker.
That's the problem.
Yeah, hold on. We're talking about him
army.
in this particular sectorial. He's expensive in this sectorial that caps out at probably about 28.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, okay.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Not expensive in other armies, but yeah.
What are the fire teams?
So the first fire team is sort of your the volunteer fire team, very similar to your normal sort of grunt fire team. So in this one, you can have a volunteer. You need to have at least 1 to a max of 5. You can have Highlander Greys, 0 to a max of 3, and you can have 1. What's it called? The
112.
The 112.
Yeah.
112 FTO. So you can have a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
in
that's
this
nice.
link.
I like. So does the doctor count as?
The doctor doesn't count as a volunteer, so
No,
he does break the.
No purity in this link.
Yeah.
Outside of volunteer.
So again, you can put Isabel in this link and keep it pure. I don't think it's really worth keeping this one this particular fire team pure. I think it's worth it to boost the burst of a Highlander Grey.
Absolutely.
And support the Highlander Grey with potentially burst to paramedics or medkits. The Highlander Grey is decently
really
high. No, the Highlander Grey is not particularly expensive.
No, sarcasm. Jesus Christ, 28 points. What the fuck?
Yeah. But they do have 5 Fizz at Fizz 13. And pretty much all of Ariadna do not have cubes, so you can't re-roll the doctor roll. So
paramedic
double paramedics tend to actually be a bit better. It's about I did actually crunch the numbers, and it's about 80% to 70%. So you're a bit better off with your 2 paramedics. Plus, the machine gun provides you with smokes, so you're going to renew. You got specialists that can be moved around easily, right? He's got a damage 15 heavy machine gun with burst 5, which is great. He is dogged. I'd probably recommend, if you can, just ignore the dogged, go unconscious, and try and bring him back up.
Fair enough,
he's okay at CC 21 native. Doesn't really get any bonuses for it, but for 28 points in the for the HMG, I think that he's definitely worth it for the boost. You can also, if you want, put the I'll get to it later, the T2 boarding shotgun.
I mean, remember, bear in mind they are 6-2 move as well, which just means they can get places to shoot shit.
Yes,
Yeah.
so
But they will not outrun your volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
Your volunteers will keep up with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think it's worth keeping pure. I don't think it's worth putting the 112
Val like
with
just
it.
creaming himself right now. He's gonna start a new army.
Yeah. Isabel's worth putting in it because again, you've got the ability to move around these specialists. Wallace putting it in this team is also worth it. You know, you get an extra burst, an extra shot on his T2 rifle, as well as more smoke, better combat defense, all those sorts of things. So I'm not saying don't do the volunteer team. I just don't think it's worth trying to keep it pure in the slightest.
Yeah.
Fair
I was gonna say the T2 boarding shotguns in a mission like Panic Room or Armory are fucking old.
Yeah, I think there's a better use for the T2 boarding shotgun, and I'll get to it later. But yeah, it's a fucking amazing profile.
I mean, the fact that it's 20 points for a damage 15 T2 boarding shotgun with grenades and smoke grenades and decharges for some reason is.
Don't forget, it's damage.
Money.
It'd be damage 14 grenades.
Yeah, exactly. It's real money. It's real good. Even the T2 rifle +1 burst light shotgun, because it's damage 14, burst 3, burst 4, and link team shotgun, which is.
Well, smoke grenades damage 1.
No, they're non-lethal. They are, but they're non-lethal. So they can't do any damage anyway.
Yeah.
So the next fire team is your Scots Guard.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Scots Guard or Scott Guard?
Scots Guard. Just Scots.
It is actually Scott. No, it's Scots Guard. Weird. Okay, yeah, the Scots Guard fire team. So this is just 1 Scots Guard to 5 Scots Guard. Look, I think the Scots Guard haven't lost their role, which is to be this like camo nuisance with the missile launcher.
Yeah, but not as a fire team. Your vision of them in a fire team is like non-existent.
Yeah, so again, like I said, they start as for the fire team, they start at what, 25 points? And for that you get a Forward Observer NCO with submachine gun +1 burst, Panzerfaust Flash Pulse decharges, or you get Shock Marksman rifle. Now, yeah, cool, you got a fire team where everyone has mimetism. But again, in CHA, that's a really expensive team. It would cost you less to make and I'll get to that in a second, a Highlander Grey fire team, which would have more utility.
Yeah, for 1 wound.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean the Greys have 1 wound and dogged, but yeah.
Sure.
Their role, I think, is still that sort of missile launcher camouflage. Thing to add another camouflage sort of thing, or even I think they've got a camouflage NCO, which I think is still worth it. I just don't think they've lost their role as a camo team, and I don't think they make sense to put as a 5-man fire team, even with placing Wallace with it or Isabel with it. There's just better options, and I just don't see the point in doing it.
And even with the new season, total terrain means that some will get super jump sometimes. It's still hard to justify.
Yeah,
you can't bank on it, and like season 15 comes out and it's gone. So
it's true.
Okay, moving on.
Yep. So the next one. Okay, so this is the what's it called, like the Death Star, the big 5-man fire team. So this is the Highlander Grey. So was it the 3rd Regiment Highlander Greys, I think is what they're properly called. Yeah, 3rd Highlander Grey Rifles.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is oops, let me go back. This is just 1 to 5 Highlander Greys. Again, you can put the wild cards in it. Unfortunately, nothing counts as a Grey. This is where I think there's no real issue if you want to get 5 Greys together, other than finding 5 Grey models.
Yeah. Okay,
like having a HMG for your long range, having the T2 rifle for your sort of mid range, and then having 2 boarding shotguns for like really close range, and then just repeating any of those profiles again.
Wow.
Is well worth it. You've got tons of smoke. Everyone can throw smoke. Everyone has +1 damage. You've got pretty much every single range band covered. Almost everything is T2, which is terrifying.
Everyone's got smoke grenades, so they're self-sufficient. if they don't want to find.
One of the boarding shotgun profile does have decharges, so you do get that the ability to do the sabotage thing, whatever it's called,
classified.
Yeah,
classified. And the main thing is it's pretty damn cheap. I mean, you're looking at 28, so what, like 68, maybe 70, 88,
120
maybe
points.
maybe 113, 103 points or something like that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
you're getting some value for your money in this. Otherwise, you'd be paying money points for like a medium infantry fire team. You're getting heavy infantry.
Yeah, it's a weird. They're not hackable heavy infantry. They do show that with relatively low armor of armor 3, and they're dogged instead of even no wounding cap. Are still shock immune, so they can survive that. But I think the biggest thing is, and I think this sort of goes across the Caledonia Highlander army. They trade up because of the T2, but they can trade up big.
Oh, yeah.
So a 20-point model can very easily go up to, let's say, an Azura, for instance, and go deal with my damage 15 3-burst boarding shotgun, where if you fail 2 armor saves, that's 4 wounds, and you disappear off the board.
I think though the main question with this fire team is, would you really take it over just the Caledonia volunteer fire team?
Not for me.
No, I don't.
Unless you were running, unless you really wanted to like lead into the core link thing, like the pure core.
I mean,
but even then, you're like, ugh.
I think BS14 would be enough. Like a 4-man would be almost.
Yeah, look, and the biggest thing is,
but the main thing is though, why do that when you can just have the volunteer fire team? I mean, you miss out on one BS. You're right, but in that case, just don't. No, but I mean, he was talking about going a 4-man pure grey team or a 4-man mixed volunteer grey team is 1 BS difference.
Yeah,
and plus 3 discover, but who cares about that?
Yeah. So I don't disagree. I think you'll see a lot in the Highlander army that going for pure fire teams isn't really like necessarily worth it. You're using smoke to get into the best range bands. You're dumping out bursts, right? Yeah. Like you can very easily cover the entire mid board with smoke, move up into 2T rifle range, and just say, I'm within your shitty ranges of your sniper rifles and all your fancy HMGs. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah,
and there's
again, this is not a bad team to put Wallace with, again, because you've got a lot of that defense where if you put Wallace in the middle, right, they've got a lot of really dangerous things to punch through. Again, Isabel is worth putting in here. Again, I would probably put her with a volunteer with Highlander Grey team, but you can put her in here, help her move up. Wouldn't bother with First Strike, obviously.
Okay, all right. So moving on, we'll go to the Galwegian fire team. Oh, sorry, the Mortimer fire team.
The Mortimer fire team. This is the only one that doesn't have a core, so it's Harris or Duo. If you take a look at the profile for the Mortimer, he's fucking insane. So he's BS attack plus 2 damage, BS attack AP, courage, immunity to critical, immunity to shock, dogged, with armor 5.
Yeah, his output is crazy good.
So he has, I think, the highest damage weapon in the game with a damage 70 damage 17 HMG.
Yeah, I mean, if you take away the fact that some weapons give you no cover, then yes, I think that's correct.
Yeah. I think he's worth running with the Caledonia. You do a Caledonia HMG Highlander shotgun, Highlander rifle. Sorry, like the Highlander Grey T2 boarding shotgun, Highlander T2 rifle. Or you can run the Monomer T2 rifle who's got an X visor and NCO with a grey HMG and boarding shotgun. I think this is a really flexible fire team where you can very easily put smoke into it, so it can move around really easily. Monomers can just put out this incredible amount of damage with their X visors and their T2 rifles. I mean, a monomer in suppressive completely ignores the -3. He's just zeros up to 24.
Yeah, well, the damage 15 AP T2 rifle is insane, and even an AP chain colt, just for lols, a damage 15 AP chain colt is.
And a heavy and a damage 16 heavy pistol.
Yeah, take that, Kai Talk. You ain't shit. Sorry, not Kai Talk. What's the one that you love, Val?
Sagarap.
No, the new one in Morats.
Oh no, the Kai Talk. Yeah, you're right.
No, the Kyosot. Kyosot is what I'm thinking of.
Oh, the Kyosot, the one you're thinking.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just
and just so we can get the correct pronunciation, Mormer. It's an
Mormer.
R. It's an
Okay.
R, not an N. Mormer.
Yeah, Mormer. Thank you.
Mormer.
So yeah, they are. I think they're incredible. Again, like we were talking about expensive before at 32. I think obviously these guys break it as with a maximum of 40, but you really get what you're paying for.
You get raw offensive power, but again they can get they can get chibbed pretty easily, even with the armor 5. Because they're only dogged means that they will just drop like a sack of tatties.
They're not aero paces.
No,
that's the thing. This whole faction doesn't have aero paces.
No,
this faction does have aero pieces. It's just not in the fire teams.
Yeah, fair enough.
Catarans, of course.
Don't forget, there's T2 sniper rifles hanging around.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, this is a great Harris. I really love it. I would always recommend trying to fit smoke into there. 20-point grey.
So what was the Harris? Just run over the Harris again for our listeners, or for me who wasn't listening.
So you have to have one Mormer up to 3. Would never take 3. That's way too expensive.
Oh, sorry. I mean, run over what was the fire team that you were suggesting.
One Mormer, a Highlander Grey, and either a second Highlander Grey or Isabel.
What was the Mormer loadout? HMG?
You can have the HMG, like I said, a HMG either on the Grey or the Mormer, and either the T2 boarding shotgun or like a T2 rifle. That's what I'm saying. It's so incredibly flexible. Just take your pick.
What about the NCO Mormer?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Is you can take your pick. If you want the NCO, you take the T2 rifle. The HMG's on the Grey. If you want the incredible damage, of a damage 17 HMG, AP HMG, you take that. The Grey has the T2 boarding shotgun. I'd probably lean on that, considering that NCO's not too important in this army. You don't have any like lieutenant with 2 orders. So the best you're getting is maybe 1 order out of it.
Well, 1 order is 1 order, right? Because Wallace isn't Strategos. You still have to that lieutenant order is either doing nothing.
But the inspiring presence does mean you can use it as a free coordinated order.
Yes, unless he's in a link team. Well, you can still use it if he's in a link team, I guess, but you have to break the link team to do it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Does he have to be a part of the coordinated order?
He has to be a part of the coordinated order. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's what makes it difficult.
Yeah.
What's his name? Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the Galwegian fire team, which is where Wallace, we were just talking about, features quite prominently.
Yeah, so this is where the fire team changes really hit them hard. It used to be that you could take this fire team, you could take the Highlanders, you could take Wallace, and you could take Mormer, and they could fight together. You get all this sweet fire team bonuses on a really powerful model that would cost nothing. Now, if you do this link, really you don't get anything out of it. There's no big range on it. The best weapon you get is the +1 damage T2 rifle from Wallace. You get a lot of chain rifles, but
does this become just your order battery then in the army? If you're going to use it,
but you don't have to have a fire team to do it. So, I just have the Highlanders, use them as impetuous smoke throwers, and if you're going to take Wallace, put him with another fire team. He's a wild card for a reason.
Okay,
I
so
think
you
the
wouldn't you wouldn't recommend using this fire team then?
I would.
I could recommend it for doing one particular thing, which is delivering Isabel to objectives.
And giving Isabel a very cheap 6 cents and delivering the Don as well, the Caden.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I suppose
So
it's
three
true.
Highlanders and then the other two. Sorry to interrupt you. The other two, not Wallace, but the other two wild cards. I think that'd be
Yeah.
fun, Harris.
Yeah, well, no, that'd be a full core.
Yeah, that's what I'm
It
saying.
can
yeah,
only
full
be
core.
a core as well.
Yeah, that's what. So you may as well utilize it, right? Use the full core.
Yeah.
I
So, yeah,
I don't know. I feel like if you're going to use a core, you might as well make that the Highlander Grey. The volunteers with the grey, and then have this, and then don't bother with this fire team because it doesn't.
I
You don't need
but
it.
the thing is, what I thought. Well, what I thought. I don't know. The general consensus I thought we had, and like, yeah, feel free to disagree. But I think I don't think purity is worth anything in this. I think it's too hard to get purity in this tutorial. So I think you may as well stick to Harris's for the main attack pieces. And this 5-man link, 1, it gives you orders, 2, gives you 6 cents on a model that actually wants it, which is Isabel. Not that you have repeaters actually, so
Yeah,
maybe I'm wrong
exactly.
on that one. But then you deliver Caden as well. I don't know. I think
I can see what you're getting at. It is I think that's how you have to look at this fire team. It's a delivery mechanism. What you're trying to deliver, whatever, right? But it is there to deliver something. I think it would be good for maybe if you're playing looting and sabotage or something like that, and you want to deliver First Strike, Isabel, and Wallace, who can all take out things because they've all got anti-material CC weapons.
Yeah, I mean, until you run up against an MSV2 ARO piece, then that link's just doing nothing. The way I see it is Wallace doesn't sit in a link team, because if he's in a link team, he's actually he's less useful, right? He can't use his inspiring leadership to do 4 coordinated orders with all of your, because bear in mind what does make this army harder to build is, we're talking about these Highlander Greys, which are cheap, but you know what else is cheap? Cameronians, which are 20 points as well. And you're going to want like 2 or 3 of those and McMurrow, and then suddenly, and like maybe like a Cataran or 2, and suddenly that's like a third of your army, and you're like, oh shit. So I don't know if you want to be running around with Wallace and 4 Highlanders. I don't think maybe you think you want like a maximum of 2 Highlanders, and then Wallace could be in a link team if you're worried about being alpha struck. But I don't know. Without chain of command in this army, I don't know. It's a hard one. I don't know. Like, I see some people put them in link teams. I see some people not putting them in link teams. I see some people putting him in link team to begin with, and then breaking him out so he can use his inspiring presence. It's a difficult one.
I mean, you don't have a huge amount to use your command tokens on anyway. So if you're going like first or something like that or whatever, and you wanted to break him out, use his inspiring presence, pop him back in, I think you probably have enough to do that every turn.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
If you really needed to.
Yeah, because you've got 4, and then he gets his free one anyway, so yeah.
Yeah. And the good thing about a lot of these pieces is when you do lose the fire team, they've all got like a template or something like that. So if they fall out of fire team, you can run them up, go, eat my T2 template.
Right, and the last fire team on the list.
I kind of like this fire team. I know it's kind of it's a funny one. It's the Wolver fire team. So it is 1 to 5 Wolvers and potentially 1 Wallace, who does count as a Wolver.
Oh, so he does. That's fun.
Which is like thematically, he brokered a peace between the Antipodes and the CHA.
Right. Okay. Well, there you go. There's some.
So like he's got like the respect of the Wolvers and stuff like that. This isn't so bad. This is the first actually 2 wound models that you get with the Wolvers. They are 4/4 with Calming Plus. They're martial arts level 1, CC attack +1, Berserk 3, natural born warrior. So they're pretty fucking good in combat.
I think they're so fucking cool.
Immunity shock, Climbing Plus. So pretty maneuverable, not half bad. Again, they are for CHA on a little bit of the expensive side, but this is like, because of the way it works with Highlanders, you can kind of mitigate it. Because you can put Wallace in this team and have a pure fire team. And it's not a half bad pure fire team. And you do get some decent range with an AP Spitfire. Like, that's not half bad. You do get out to 24. I would recommend, if you're going to run this fire team, to put Wallace in here, because he then gives this fire team smoke.
Oh, good point. Yeah, they don't get smoke.
Because none of them have smoke. They've all got grenades. These guys are... but these guys are great in combat. They're half decent at shooting, especially in a pure fire team. Again, they are expensive, but I do think you get what you pay for with these guys.
Right.
I don't think this. If you want to do this, it's not a half bad choice. I mean, I have one of the lists I made is who let the dogs out, because are they dogs?
Sure.
It's
They're
fun.
cats.
The profiles are good. You've got T2 rifles and light shotguns. You've got heavy shotguns. You've got AP Spitfire with Wallace in there. You've got a +1 damage T2 rifle with grenades, smoke. What else is he? Yeah, grenade, smoke, light shotgun. So you got a decent amount of range bands covered. You've got a good smoke throwing at, again, guaranteed smoke throw in a pure fire team within good range, because he throws them on 20s. Yeah, I think it's a really good fight. I think it's a really good fire team and worth running. You might find yourself squeezed for points a little bit, but I don't think you're gonna have a problem getting up, like, compared to what you normally have. I don't think the CHA is never really squeezed for points.
I'm gonna name.
Go on.
What were you saying?
So I was gonna name one model that would defeat this whole army by itself.
Go on.
The whole faction would crumble to one model.
If you say Major Luna, I'm gonna smack you.
Well, actually, that's a good point. But I was gonna say Phoenix, but Major Luna would absolutely have them in the bag as well. They have one MSV, access to one MSV from the whole
Phoenix
faction.
doesn't have MSV.
Yeah.
Doesn't he have MSV too?
Nah.
No.
You're thinking of Atalanta or an Agima.
Or Choicer.
Or Chooser has MSV1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Phoenix has Mimetism -6, so yeah, that does make things difficult.
I would disagree, because you just burst them. Atalanta might be the only problem. Avoid her.
That's a problem for all. That's a problem for all Ariadna.
I know.
MSV2 is a problem for all Ariadna. Does not. CHA is no exception. I think the Wolver fire team is a great fire team that don't see often enough, because like Cameronians exist,
cool,
right? And that's the problem. And
well, like I said, you can run. I've got a bloody list. I'll post it up in whatever we end up posting it up in, of just the dogs. I've got McMurrow, 2 Cameronians, and all Wolvers. You can do it. It's fine.
How many orders?
Don't have a lot of specialists.
Okay. That is actually one of the problems. That is one of the problems with the Wolvers, is none of them are specialists. Neither's Caden, neither's Wallace. So it's one of the things.
When you make, Isabel, you can.
No, but then you lose the purity, and actually, honestly, I think the purity is worth it in this link, because being BS15 or Fizz 17 to spec fire grenades is
Yeah.
fair
Fair enough.
Having a core without a specialist in it, and then your LT without chain of command is really risky. So it's fun, but I can see why you don't see it.
But doing that is a perfect decapitation army.
Sure, yeah. In that one mission where you've got reinforced tactical link, it's great.
Yeah. But yeah, it can be done.
All right. Overall thoughts on Caledonia, and we'll have to move on.
I think if you go into Caledonia thinking of them as the biggest glass cannons in the entirety of Infinity,
so cool.
Play them that way, trading up massively, I think you'll have a good time. I think they are a bit of a silly fun army, but That's what makes them awesome. They are super fun to play.
Can you just briefly speak to
fun.
some of the unlinkable things in the faction which complement the fire teams that we just talked about, and maybe also a reason why you might not see some fire teams in the faction because of these solo pieces.
Yeah. So SASs are great because you get 2 specialist profiles, Fort Observer and just a plain specialist. They're good in combat,
and
decent.
Cheap. They're cheap.
Not
right?
great shots, but they're cheap.
Yeah.
The McMurrow and the Cameronians, I mean, I don't really have to say much more about them. They're quick. They've got smoke, super jump, good in combat.
2 wounds.
And good wounds, high armor. You know, they're just good.
I mean, they've got no ranged weapons, but they get there fast with smoke and then rip things to shreds.
Yeah. Catarans are great. That they're very cheap, and the T2 sniper rifle can do a lot. They are a decent ARO piece. They are a decent active turn piece. You've got to keep in mind though that they are camouflage once use only. Luckily, they are mimetism -3.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, again, the fact that Wallace is often in your army turns their regular order regular, which means you're getting a 23-point sniper, which is really quite a good price.
And Uxia.
Yeah,
Uxia is insane. She's insane.
Right, she's great. You get yourself a source of MSV, an infiltrating smoke grenade thrower. I mean, she's just a great model.
She's your
just a really good model
scalpel for taking out the Kamau
exactly.
or the MSV2 thing, the assassin piece.
Absolutely.
I mean, sure, she needs a 16. She might fail it to get across the other side of the table, but it's probably worth it if you're
just
up against.
Don't risk it.
I mean, no, it's probably worth it if you're up against. If you absolutely have to take out an MSV2 aero piece, it's probably worth doing it.
I thought it'd be the other way around. If you absolutely have to, you don't risk it and just spend the extra orders. Because one thing's guaranteed, the other's not.
Oh no, yeah, fair enough. No, I can see that too. Yeah, but the problem is, the problem is though, if the MSV2 piece has got a really good view of things, then it's got more orders to discover you, and you probably won't make it there.
True.
Yeah.
And
because we don't have any infiltrating paramedics, I actually just looking at it now, the motorized 112 is probably not a half bad choice with smoke grenade launchers and the ability to do a doctor or a.
I actually really rate the 112 motorized in Dashat for just being able to revive McMurrow, basically follow McMurrow up the table as a sort of tag along specialist. And if McMurrow goes down, then you just go bang. Revive, or even the Wolvers, as a bit of a tag along.
They're with Fizz 14.
Yeah, so they're getting up in reasonable odds, and then you got a 112 who's got 70%. Smoke as well. That is not as reliable, but it's more long ranged. So I think there's value there for a reasonable price.
If you're playing CHA, just the old adage of just smoke and run.
Yeah.
Just have two Galwegians escorting that Wolverlink. That way you don't have to fuck around with them mixing it and whatnot with the whatever.
Wallace isn't a mix. He counts as a Wolver.
No, but I'm saying is you're not risking Wallace. But yeah, anyway.
Good point.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so moving on to our next fire team. So we've got Rapid Force de Response Rapide Merovingien. This won't take very long. So, okay. Sorry, French players out there. Okay, so we have. So we'll do the fire team. Sorry, do the wild cards first because they give a bit of context. Fuck, where did wild cards go? So we've got 3 wild cards. We have the Moblots, the Brigadier Bruant, and Wolfgang Amadeus. Moblots are fine. They are the worst HI in the game, but they're fine. They've got the Sapper, HMG. It's they're fine.
I mean, considering how much we just talked about, how much you pay for a grey,
Wait, can a Sapper be in a link?
Yes, it can.
Yes.
So Moblots are fine. They're the best gunfighter in French. They're BS-13. They've got reasonable armor, but they've got no dogged or nothing like that. They're shock immune. It's fine.
Yeah.
Brigadier Bruant is good. He brings an AP Spitfire, which is excellent. He's got mimetism, which is excellent. He's 1 wound, which is normal, I guess, for Ariadna. It's fine. And then Wolfgang. Hey,
Wolfgang. Is good.
Wolfgang, Wolfgang is in many Ariadna sectorals. He's often a wild card, and he often doesn't get taken, which is a shame because he is a good profile, but he's just expensive
He is a good
and
profile.
often just gets overlooked by other things.
He's good.
He is good, but I can count on one
Hard to
hand the
use.
amount of times I've seen him on the table. I can count on one finger the
Exactly,
amount of times I've seen him on the table. Which
Hector
is a
tried
shame.
to get
Zero.
him to work, and he didn't. Even Hector couldn't get him to work.
Yeah.
But then again, Hector's not perfect.
So we will
Just
go
hold out there can make
into
it work.
our fire teams. So we have the Metros
Mm-hmm.
fire teams. So in short, Metros are bad. They are really, really bad. It's a shame, really. They're just bad. Metros
This is a
are
balanced review, by the way.
yeah. So Metros are 8 points, and they've got no template weapons. So anything that makes any other Ariadna line trooper good. So we're talking Rocots, volunteers, grunts. They're all good because they have template weapons. These guys, no. Rifles. And I'm BS10. Fuck you. They're bad. Don't take them. I mean, you have to take them literally because it's the only thing you can use to make a Metro's fire team. The 112 is AVA1. He does provide you with a light shotgun, which is a tempo weapon, and he counts as a Metro, which is great. So you can make a Metro fire team and keep it pure with a tempo weapon. And he has a doctor, so I guess that's useful. Terrain total on Metros is fine because in the bump this season it's great. Alguacil Hacker is cute, but it breaks the pureness still. Gives you a 6th Sense Hacker, which is fine. Except, access to repeaters is limited in this faction.
I feel like you're going to end up putting the mob lot with the whatever the metros anyway. So if you're going to break, you're already breaking purity. So
yeah.
go for it.
So this leads to my
Alguacils.
next point: is mob lot can wildcard, but it doesn't make him pure. That really pisses me off. I feel like mob lot should keep it pure because. I mean, Jesus Christ, these guys need help. But they're not. So no.
I'm sorry, but a mob lot. BS14 mimetism.
No, there's no mimetism. There's no mimetism, dude.
No, when he goes into Sapper, he gets mimetism.
Oh, sure, but then he can't move. So what are you doing with him? Just setting him back, setting him in the DZ, just like no, it's shite. I guess you can move him up and then sapper him, which you can do the fun thing where you like are behind a wall and then sapper and then use a bigger base to be outside, which I guess is handy. But still, I don't like it.
I think the biggest thing is the fact that it's just an ARO piece.
Yeah, it's not a very good ARO piece either.
It's a strong attack base. BS14 mimetism.
Yeah, but again, attack.
You can't attack in Sapper.
You can't attack in Sapper. You have to move and then spend a whole order to go into Sapper state to give you the mimetism, and then spend a new order not moving, shooting, and then spend another order to move out of the Sapper state. It's not efficient at all.
Okay.
Bruat gives you some useful gunfighting because he does count as a Metro, so you will get the bonus to your you will get BS15 with an AP Spitfire with mimetism, which is fine. It's nice. It's good. Nothing wrong with that.
A real poor man's
but it's
unknown ranger.
It's not great either. And then Wolfgang is in there. I guess you could put him in there, but meh. Then we have Loop Guru fire teams. They're fine, I guess. Access to viral is nice. Pureness is difficult unless you want to run 5 Loop Guru. I wouldn't do that because Loop Guru are very basic. They have viral rifles, which is good, but then their only other long range piece is a sniper rifle. They have X-Visor, which is useless on a sniper rifle. And otherwise, they're armor 2 with 1 wound, no mimetism, nothing like that. Just kind of
cool.
They're cool looking models. Don't get me wrong. I just don't.
Them being like a big deal for a while.
They were. I think it's the viral. A core BS15 sniper is fine, but it's 100 points or more, so I wouldn't do it. Yeah. Brisk cards fire team. So this is where the money might be at. Brisk cards are useful. They have good profiles and good loadouts. It's worth going pure with them. Sorry, I should actually mention it's just brisk cards. Sorry, I didn't actually say what was in the fire team. So it's brisk cards minimum 1, maximum 5. Brisk cards are the only thing that's in it. You can put your wild cards in there. it's worth going pure in this fire team for the MSV1 heavy rocket launcher or AP sniper. The AP sniper is good, at least it gives you some threat.
Also BS shock, so that's pretty good.
Yep, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, BS shock with it as well. They're all in the mid 20-point range band, so I can see that would be not a bad option for going pure. And then again, you can run a reasonable effective Harris with it as well, because a lot of them have assault pistols. So you've got that MSV1, you've got the marksman rifle or the AP sniper or the heavy rocket launcher to cover all of your range bands from basically 0 to 48, and an assault pistol, which is nice. Again, the BS12 1 wound armor 2. They're fine. Like, they're fine for mid 20-point models. They're probably the best things in the faction. Then we've got the Moblot fire team. Again, minimum 1, maximum 5, only Moblots. Cheap enough that you could make a core of these guys with a Snapper HMG. There's a nice specialists here with the engineer and the paramedic with good weapons. So, as an example, a Moblot engineer has an AP rifle, which is great. Light shotgun, which is great. D-charges, which is great. So all those are good. They're BS13 with ARM 3, and importantly for Ariadna, also BTS 3, which is really rare. So the BTS 3 is handy against some things, right? Breaker and nanopulsars. All the profiles do have BS attack shock, which can be useful unless you're playing highly classified, in which case you might not want them to die.
Yeah, that's true.
What I actually, just on the Moblots, which I do really, I see quite interesting, is the infiltration profiles. But bear in mind, infiltration prevents units joining fire teams. So I think at the beginning of N4, there were people who were trying to infiltrate and then join a fire team. But it specifically says in the fire team appendix that anything with anything with an infiltration or a marker state cannot be in a fire team. So
right.
But they do look fun because the infiltration mimetism -3 AP rifle light shotgun EM mines profile does look like a hell of a lot of fun.
Yep.
But
that's a great one.
It is 32 points.
Yeah.
Which I'm just
and they are competing with chasseurs.
I mean, they're not so much competing with chasseurs, they're so much more expensive than chasseurs. And for a 1 wound armor 3 model that's I mean, in Hack Islam I can buy a fucking Nahab for the same amount of points, and it's got no win cap and shock immunity. I don't understand. It's good, but it's not great. There are better options for the same price in other sectorals, which is often what will happen with the French. People will be like, but you can get this in USARF or this in Cosmoflot. And you know what?
These people are also on forums, so
they're right. No, they're right here. They're you're talking to one right now. Then we have the Anaconda fire team. There's nothing really to say on this except
yes, fire team.
It's
awesome.
It's you can have 2 Anacondas in a duo if you want to. You can put an Anaconda with Wolfgang, but really there's no synergy. There's no synergy there. There's no reason to do it.
Moblot engineer.
I was gonna say Moblot engineer.
Oh sure, yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, the Anaconda.
Got him, Jacob. We got him.
The
Between the two of us, we got him.
Just bad. It's just bad.
We got him. Yeah.
Okay, so
sorry, can I pause you for a second?
Yes, you may. Sorry, I've finished with the fire team, so now you can talk about what I've just said.
I was just gonna say, just a bit unrelated. Now, taking the fact that there was maybe a hint of cynicism in the review, did you or did you not visit France on your trip to Europe?
I did actually. Yeah, I was in.
You did. Okay, I just thought maybe you have something against the French.
No, I visited
from the outset.
And you know what? I really loved France when I was there. I was in Montpellier, and Montpellier was lovely. And I was in Nice, and Nice was amazing. The only thing I would say about France is I do think that Italy does better pastries than the French. So that's yeah, I know.
Jim's fighting words.
I know, right? I'm sorry, France. Italy does it better. Yeah, no, I honestly I tried for a few hours yesterday to make this work, and I just couldn't. It's just bad. Julian was
I
right.
don't
This
see what-
faction is garbage. It's just bad. Like
I
I
don't see. Yeah.
I'm even looking at like the other profiles they have outside of the fire teams, and there's just so few that are like even worth it. You got the Chasseurs, Equip Mirage,
Zouaves are good.
and maybe Zouaves, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
Zouaves,
sure. Yeah,
maybe.
you've got what you have in this faction is the ability to do some hacking. You know, you have a hacking core. You have war drivers that have Sixth Sense, but you have no repeater network. So, meh. I mean, unless you want to take the new Mule bot, which I guess is 17 points that you'll never get back. There are like the Zouaves are good.
I think this was.
Chasseurs are fine. Chasseurs are great too.
Paracommandos are great. Paracommandos are fucking
Actually,
money.
Paracommandos, you're right, they are very good, but they're really
Yeah,
they're still
but I mean,
they're still the worst. I forgot to ask you for the army list that you're going to show us for Caledonia, but so that we don't. But I will just show you quickly what the list I made for our. Oh fuck! Where did I put it? No, where did I put it?
Paracommandos.
I thought I saved it. Ah, damn it. Okay, I forgot to say. I did make a list, honestly. Swear to God, I made a list and then I somehow
That's fine.
must have forgotten to save it, which is real
Nah.
sad.
if you want, you can. If you
but
want,
if
you
we
can
have-
flick up to the all comers list
But it was basically
for CHA.
it was basically 3 chasseurs, a core of briscards. So a core of briscards with the AP sniper and the HRL. 3 chasseurs, equip Mirage, I think a Zouave, and then a whole bunch of other stuff that I can't quite remember what it was. It wasn't great, but it felt okay. It did fit and it did work. It seemed to work okay. It seemed to function. It seemed to cover all the bases. It just didn't fill me with joy, I guess you could say. Yeah.
Joy. No, I'm sorry, but like the Chasseurs, the Paracommandos, the Zouaves have some value, and then Briscards are not bad, and the Mob lot, yeah.
Yeah, but
yeah,
here's the question. You say all of that, and then I say, well, why not just play Cosmoflot? If you really want Paracommandos and like infiltrating things with templates, just play Cosmoflot.
And Durov.
I think I think this
Fair
is
enough.
what this is what like Cosmoflot is what French work's sort of supposed to turn into eventually.
Maybe. Yeah,
Oh,
maybe.
okay.
Because like French is supposed to be the slightly higher tech Ariadna because they did a bit more trading with the rest of the world.
Yeah, that's true.
Hemisphere.
Yeah.
Fair.
I think it's fine. Did you have that list? Do you want to just quickly just run through for our listeners, just so like have to post it up there?
Yeah, sure. Did you? The code's up there if you want to bring it up on the stream. But
sure.
I can go through it.
No, I can't actually because my work has banned me from using Infinity Army. So you're just gonna have to read it off.
Yeah,
Sorry.
don't worry about it. So it's first fire group is Wallace is your lieutenant with 2 greys. The heavy machine gun and the T2 boarding shotgun, followed by 2 paramedic volunteers, obviously to try and get things up when they go down. Another volunteer light shotgun with the once use camouflage and infiltration. 2 Highlander Galwegians with just a chain rifle and smoke. SAS Forward Observer and a Cataran. In group 2, you have a Mormer 2-2 rifle NCO with X visor, a Highlander Grey with 2-2 boarding shotgun, Isabel, another Cataran, and McMurrow. So plenty of specialists in there. You've got plenty of attack pieces, and obviously plenty of smoke.
Yeah.
Of course, if you want a bit more specialist oomph, you can probably play around with not having the more do something else with it.
So yeah, okay. So yeah, I mean that just sounds pretty standard sort of list to me as well.
That's the whole point of an all comers list.
Yeah, no, that does sound pretty good. I'm really annoyed that list didn't stay up there, but that's fine. It's fine.
We'll post them all in the description if you guys want to take a look at what we came up with.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
cool.
go to the land of freedom,
Let's
shall we?
move to freedom. US Ariadna
Freedom!
Ranger Force. Hurrah!
Freedom!
Val, you haven't spoken yet. Do you want to do the things I've written, or do you want me to do that?
You can do that because I sound like you've covered it pretty well, and I'll just chip in here and there with my hot takes if I got
Okay.
any.
I forgot to make a list for this one as well because this was originally supposed
I
to be
don't know about.
Huh?
Yeah, I haven't made a list for TAC either, so I don't know. But we can either post
Maybe
a
while
list
I'm talking,
afterwards.
you can make a list for TAC.
Yeah, sure.
Because
speed list.
this was supposed to be next domain, but he had to pull out because he's sick, so I didn't have a chance to make a list. I am sorry, because I think there's a lot of potential in this the sectoral for making some really fun links.
Yeah.
So first of all, wildcards, just to go over them, there aren't too many. So we've got a 112 FTO that counts as a grunt. We've got Rosie that counts as a grunt. We've got Unknown Ranger that counts as a grunt, and USARF. All three of those are very good. 012 we've already spoken about. Rosie is Dire Foe's character. She is finding her now. There she is. Yeah, so she has dogged, forward deployment, light rocket launcher, light shotgun. She's a specialist. She is really good. Like, she's 22 points.
Yeah.
But like, you know, the basic gist of it is she is a light rocket launcher specialist with D charges. So she's good in classifies because she's a character. She's got D charges. And then the Unknown Ranger, we all know who he or she is. She's really fucking good. So we'll move into the grunt fire teams first of all. So this is the kind of, so I've said here is this is the kind of fire team I'd have hoped to have seen in the French, in that it is a lot of synergy, a lot of keywords that allow you to make a fire team that can do stuff. So grunts have a great assortment of weapons, are durable and cheap. So what I mean by that is they have like shotguns. Cheap. They have heavy flamethrowers, they're armor 3, and they're 10 points. Not only that is you can still have long range arrows in this link team. So you've got heavy machine guns, you've got the AP sniper rifle, right? So you and then you've got your infiltration models like the Metros did, but these ones have heavy flamethrowers and light shotguns, so they're actually useful. They don't have camouflage. They don't have camouflage though, to be fair. But yeah,
I don't remember what the profile was, but they've got the same AP shock sniper rifle, but it's +1 damage, so damage 16 AP shock sniper rifle. That's fucking good.
20 points with armor 3.
Yeah,
and there'll be BS 14 in a pure. Like, it's pretty legit. And you get a 112, which doesn't break purity.
It's very good point. Yeah, so yeah, to run through the purity thing. So yeah, grunts have to be a minimum of 1, maximum of 5. You can have 0 to 1 Minutemen and 0 to 1 Wild Bill, who also counts as a grunt, which is nice, right? It's really nice that you can have an 112 FTO grunt, FTO that counts as a grunt. So you can easily put a doctor in there to keep things going. Because I don't think you have a paramedic. Oh no, you do have a grunt paramedic option who's also the same price as a 112. So you might as well just go for the 112, right?
Exactly.
Because of their low fears, unlike in CHA, it is worth having the doctor because you're more likely to pass that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and I like the addition of Wild Bill being in this one as a purity because he keeps it pure, and is honestly a really good mid-range addition because he's got marksmanship. He's BS 13, BS 16 in a pure link. It's a +1 damage rifle with shock. I know I've used him before in Rama with the Contender actually, because what he'll do is he'll actually sit as an ARO piece.
Yeah.
And the Contender got a bit buffed even in active because it's burst 2 now. It used to be 1.
Yeah, so
it's a really nasty.
No,
it's a really nasty weapon.
It's burst 1 still inactive.
Oh, I don't know why I thought it was burst 2.
Yeah,
my bad.
But either way, it's burst 2, burst 2, damage 14, double action with Wild Bill on 16s, right? And then ignoring cover, so he's on 19s, right? It's really nice, and he's reasonably durable. Most people will take the rifle version, but he's actually useful in this sectoral, and I really like seeing him there.
Yeah, and his for like defense of your fire team, his multi pistol is mean.
Oh yeah, definitely,
Yes.
especially in
Gross.
CC as well. It's really nice. So
Yeah.
on the
Can I ask? Sorry, you said the infiltrating grants, they can't be part of the link, can they?
That's correct. Yeah, if you've got infiltration
cool.
in your
No
rules,
worries.
you can't be in a link team.
Like, they're good for corner defense.
Yeah, I think
Yes, of
before
course,
there were some queries about that they could go in a link team because there was nothing saying you couldn't. But I'm pretty sure in the fire team appendix it says if you've got infiltration or a marker state on your profile, then you can't be in a link team. So on Minutemen, you might see them here as a core, but most likely in a Harris with the NCO AP HMG. Some really nice profiles and reasonably priced, so the HMG will compete with the Unknown Ranger, as most things will do in this faction, as you'll come to find out. 112 is probably worth the points, as you mentioned. Rosie is cool, though may see more play in a Harris, because again, I don't know if she's not really an aero piece, because light rocket launcher isn't effective enough as an aero piece, but I think she's decent as a backup gunfighter. The Unknown Ranger is again busted good, especially when you can make it pure for very few points, because that's an Unknown Ranger and 4 grunts for like 80 points. No,
87 points.
87 points. That's
That's
so good.
That's nothing for how good the Unknown Ranger is.
And then maybe make one of the grunts a paramedic just to keep them going. Then it's real good.
Or the 112.
Or the 112. Sorry, yeah, of course the 112.
Hold on. What's the fit? No, you would take the paramedic because he's Fizz 13.
But they're so slow.
True.
They're so slow.
That's
true. They're the only ones that still 4-2. They're the only ones that still have the medium infantry 4-2.
Good
That's
pick
the tricky part with the grunt.
The 4-2 movement on grunts is like a kick. It's like a punch in one of the ball sacks from CB. Just be like, remember when we made every other profile in the game all 4-4, except you grunts, you're still 4-2.
I almost get the feeling that they've gone, we got rid of the models. Who cares about updating their fucking profile?
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. Whatever.
Maybe are geniuses and they know what they're doing. No, but the thing is, I think acquisition and 16-inch deployment scenarios, they can still be viable to push up the table. I think in 12 missions where it's a 12-inch deployment, they're harder to justify.
Okay, I'll buy that. I'll pay that one. Yeah, that's a good decision.
Yeah, I also think we're going to cover profile. Like, I think the grunts are meant to sort of stay back, help with some gunfighting. I think we'll cover profiles that are better at reaching out and moving later.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the next fire team is the USARF fire team. So this is the fun link. This is like fun shit right here. So you can have either a Minuteman or a Marauder as your base for the fire team, and then up to 5 of either, and they both count as USARF. So there's purity just there from the get-go. And let's just talk about Marauders for a second. Minutemen we'll get back to because they're fine, but Marauders are dogged, 4 deployment plus 4, stealth and terrain jungle, whatever, armor 3, BS 12. They have, similar to the Brisk cards in that they have a good selection of weapons: rifle, heavy flamethrower, heavy pistol. But you also have heavy rocket launcher, assault pistol with MSV1. You have AP Spitfire, and you have a sniper rifle with +1 burst and MSV1. This can very quickly become your, if you want to, you could make it your pure core fire team. It's not the cheapest because your minimum spend here is 22 points per model. But I think if you want to go defensive, this is a really effective defensive arrow. I don't think it's necessarily as good as the grunt for points that you spend. But I think if you want to actually put up a fight, this Marauder team could be the way to go.
At range, you mean?
Yeah, as a defensive fire team, because you've got
Yeah.
you've got the sniper rifle with +1 burst, which means even active,
And the heavy rocket.
which means even an active, you're burst 4, so you can be defensive
Yeah,
or
yeah.
offensive with this thing, and be BS-15 with MSV1 burst 4 sniper rifle is very nice for just taking out those pieces, especially like flashball spots. This thing will just eat them. It'll outrange them. It's got MSV1. It's burst 4 and 15s. It's just like bang, 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 takes them out.
See you later.
I think it's good in this fire team that you can mix the Minutemen and Marauders. So you've got either like huge burst on your light flamethrowers, or you've got heavy flamethrowers.
Yeah, and you've got a little bit of flex here as well, because you can chuck it if you want to have a burst 5 HMG. You can have your Minuteman HMG NCO, sorry, AP HMG NCO. Which works really well with a lieutenant, which could be a grunt, it could be a Minuteman, it could be whatever it could be, and that becomes quite an effective, aggressive, heavy core. You can also have it as a Harris as well. It'll still work very well that way too. I just think these really, really good. The Minutemen are they're funny profiles. They're heavy infantry, they're 1 wound, they don't have any dog or anything like that, but they are BS-13 armor 3 with good weapons like AP rifles, missile launchers, AP HMGs. They've got heavy flamethrowers so they can defend themselves, and funnily enough, they're CC20 with CC attack -3, so they're no slouch in close combat if you want to actually attack them. But they're kind of also not that great either. They're trading. They're not super efficient. They're fine, but I think they work well in this fire team as you might put 1 in there or 2 perhaps. Most.
The one thing I noticed with US Ariadna in general, they just have super weapons. They just have great weapon loadouts. Really good weapon loadouts.
Absolutely, yeah.
Heavy flamers on the grunts, AP, the sniper rifle +1 burst, the assault pistols. Yeah, no, they're just great.
Would you bother putting the Unknown Ranger in here?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you wanna have a tough core or even a mobile Harris, I would see no problem in putting say the Unknown Ranger, Marauder, and maybe 2 Marauders in there. It's not gonna break the bank, and it's gonna give you a specialist. It's gonna give you a plethora of different weapons to fight with. I definitely think it's worth doing. A Marauder, trying to think of find him, a Marauder paramedic as a specialist, and then Unknown Ranger, and then your third model can be, say, the Minuteman, Forward Observer, maybe. Yep. Even, if you wanted to. The Lieutenant +1 command token is cute. I wouldn't put that in that link team necessarily, but the +1 command token can be useful because USARF do have a lot of irregular orders between the Devil Dogs and the hard cases. You can definitely see yourself, and the Desperados, you can definitely see yourself using that command token. So I think it's worth.
I forgot about Devil Dogs.
Yeah, it's
Listen
worth.
to this. I just made a 4-man link because I'm obsessed with 4-man links. I don't know if you guys noticed.
Yeah, we've noticed. Yeah.
Good. But check this out. So you get a Marauder Lieutenant with rifle, heavy flamethrower, Marauder boarding shotgun and AP mines. Then you get a Minuteman NCO with AP HMG. Then you get the Unknown Ranger with AP Spitfire. So in that link, you get 2 orders, one from the NCO, one from the attack awareness on the Unknown Ranger. Your BS-14 with the Unknown Ranger and BS-14 with the Minuteman and BS-13 with the Marauders because you're keeping purity. And you have AP HMG up to 32, AP Spitfire up to 24. You have some point defense with the mines and heavy flamers.
Okay, so we're just gonna talk about something real quickly for a sec here. Listeners out there, Val has a hard-on for 4-man links, which I agree with him entirely, unless you can get purity with 1 extra model, in which case, fuck the 4-man link. If you can't get purity anyway, then go 4-man. But do not go 4-man if 1 extra model gets you +2 BS. Just don't do it. Whatever Val tells you is wrong.
Disagree.
Is wrong.
Yeah.
Like, just pay the extra 22 points and get a 5th member and be BS 16.
Sure.
I'm more conditional on that, but I'll cover it when we get to TAC.
But yeah,
like, either way,
yeah.
There's 6 orders in that group, or 7 if you put the 5th member in there, whatever. But the point is, there's 6 orders there, and you got range bands covered days, and you have good BS. BS 14 is basically where things cap out in N4.
Yeah, I think the one of the struggle, I wouldn't say a struggle, but one of the considerations for this is because you have Marauders with MSV1 and Unknown Ranger with MSV1, it really does make you think about making them at least a 4-man anyway to get the 6th sense. Mostly because with your smoke that you get from Desperados and Devil Dogs, you can effectively get the poor man's MSV2 out of it.
Yeah.
Right? Yes, you can throw smoke, shoot, and like walk out with the Marauder, for example, or the Unknown Ranger, and force your opponent to dodge. Because if they dodge, you're shooting a -6, which is still fine because they're not shooting you back. And if they shoot you back, then your 6th sense kicks in and you're no longer taking any mods. Yeah. And it's your only way to do that in Ariadna because you don't get MSV2. So I think that's a real consideration, especially with a burst 4 sniper rifle. That can be real good if you throw smoke up in front of things.
But if you have the sniper rifle, you're not really pushing up. But with the link, yeah. I guess you still can. You have 3 other members that can do stuff up close. Yeah, I'm not sure.
It just allows you with the with the +1 burst sniper rifle from your position in your vantage point in the DZ to select your targets, to be like put smoke down. I'm gonna shoot this thing. If you dodge, then sure, I'm on 10s to hit. I'm on 4 dice on 10s. But if you shoot me back, I'm on 4 dice on 16s. I'll take that. Oh, sorry, not 16s. 15s. Sorry, 15s. 9s or 15s. Yes. It's not great if they dodge, and most opponents will just be like, I'll dodge. But there will be some occasions where that opponent will be like, I'll take the shot, and then you're like, sweet, I'll take my 4 dice on 15s.
Yeah. No, wouldn't you be? Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. You're right.
And don't forget the sniper rifle has a heavy pistol, so moving it around and stuff's not too bad. Heavy pistols are
sniper rifle doesn't. Heavy rocket does. Anyway.
No, the heavy rocket has a solid
heavy pistol. Sorry, apologies. Yeah, you say your heavy pistol.
So so I like that link a lot. I think that I don't know much about this army, but I feel like that would be a useful link team as your Harris, but also very useful as your core as well. I don't see why that wouldn't be getting used. Next up, we have Blackjack fire teams. This is real fun. Blackjacks can form a Harris.
This is really fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Really fun.
So 38 points for a TSU sniper rifle or AP HMG with a bunch of other weapons and amazing durability is worth it. So just to clarify, it's minimum 1, maximum 3 Blackjack. Even as somewhat of a throwaway arrow in the T2 sniper is fine in this faction due to how cheap everything else is. You know, just being like, I'll stand up with an armor 5, burst 2, T2 sniper rifle. Sure, I'll whatever. It's fine. Like if I die, I die. I'll probably just lose a wound, and I'm still going right. This.
Do you realize you can have 2 112s? I thought 112s are special. You can have 2.
Yeah, they are AVA2, but you can only have 1 in any one.
One as a wild card.
Yes. Well,
yes.
Good point.
So you could put the 112. So I would
and Rosie in this.
So like I would say, I would be putting the 112. I would actually be putting 2 Blackjacks and a 112.
Yes.
So the AP sniper and the HMG. So the the T2 sniper does aero duty.
Reaction.
The HMG pushes forward, and then the 1-2 is just a cheap 12-point order that maybe heals things if they go unconscious, because it can't heal them back up to full because they're battle ravaged. But at least it's there as a specialist anyway, at the very least.
It's so cool. Yes.
So that's cool.
That's really cool.
I really like it. I think because it's just so cheap, like 38 points. So we were just talking about the Mortimer that's 40, and if this guy's 2 points cheaper, and you're like, he's kind of better. Like not he's different, but still really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, sorry.
This Harris brought a smile to my face when I was looking at it for sure.
But it does have the rare weakness in Ariadna that this is one of the few ones that are hackable. But
yeah.
I mean, the one thing I really like about admittedly, the blackjack is I think the bloody HMG model is fucking sick.
Yeah, they're all
Absolutely.
sick. Yeah,
Now, and on the hacking thing, you can take a war driver. That can be an Evo, so it gives you firewall if you want to. So that's
Oh yeah.
if you really want to protect your BTS3 model from hacking, then Evo might be the go
okay.
there. Because
Yeah,
war
fair
drivers now
enough.
have an Evo profile, which is great.
Right.
All right, so then we've got the Maverick fire team. This fire team is dope. This is great. I love motorcycle harnesses, so this is your option here. So it's better in the previous season because they could take cover back then, but it's still good. MSV1 and sorry, just to clarify, minimum 1, maximum 2 Mavericks, and 0 to 1, 112 motorized, which is quite nice. So basically, they all have MSV1 and they all have mimetism now because they're bikes in this new season. And you've got options for a light rocket launcher and AP Spitfire as your like kind of attacking pieces. AP Spitfire is probably your preferred option. It's really nice. You can link a doctor in there to keep them going and push buttons. You could put the forward observer in there if you want to, I guess, but I think the 112 is probably more useful and cheaper, maybe. I actually try to remember what that price was now. Desperado.
19 points for the 112.
Yeah, and then the Desperado is
8.
Desperado. Why can't I find it? Sorry, not Desperado.
Right,
Maverick. Sorry, Maverick. No, it's Desperado. Maverick.
Yeah, it's 19 for the two specials, like the specialist profiles.
Oh, okay, so they're both the same price, but at least the 112 gets you a light shotgun, whereas the Maverick only gets you a rifle.
Yeah.
Les Pauls.
I wouldn't be hard pressed on taking an AP Spitfire, the Forward Observer, and the Doctor just for like the just for the variety in specialists. If you're doing something like highly classified or something like that, but yeah, I can see that you only get a rifle compared to like an SMG, like rocket launcher or boarding shotgun.
Yeah, I think they're you wouldn't be bothering with wild cards in this link team because of their speed. Their main downside is their inability to claim cover and their size of their base, as you can imagine, having 3 S4s.
Armor 3 as well.
They are armor 3, yes.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
I think one of the cool things about this particular, because it got MSV1, is to rush up to something that maybe pushed up on the bit too far on your opponent's turn, drop smoke on them, and then just template them with the boarding shotgun through the smoke.
That is a good point. That actually is a good point. You can try utilize that MSV1 a little bit like that. That's actually not a bad point at all.
Yeah, that could be an option, yeah, because otherwise you don't have any other templates. So yeah, actually having the shotgun is actually not a bad idea. Yeah, and I can see that definitely being useful.
It's no intuitive attack. Not that you can do that with the boarding shotgun anyway, but it's just I get like you choose what you're gonna do. I get to just throw my thing at you.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I like that. Yeah, but again, the problem is they're S4, right? So hiding one S4 can be hard in some tables. Hiding 3, yeah, good luck. Especially when they're all within 8 inches of each other. It might be
worth if you really need to on your, like if you've got like one order or something to pull them all off the bike on the end turn, and then jump them all back on.
Sure. Yeah, I guess so. I guess like overall thoughts. Yeah, I really like the synergy. Not the synergy. The synergy is not the right one I'm thinking of. The coherency in this army. I like how now a lot of them are. You can maintain purity. Their wild cards keep purity. It's not all about purity, but it's also about character as well. Like Wild Bill.
Yes.
Keeps it. Minutemen and Marauders working together is really nice. Like that, and this is also the home of Unknown Ranger, so it makes sense that he keeps purity as well. So, I wish I made a list for it. Unfortunately, I didn't have time. But you can tell by just what we've got there. There's lots and lots of options. It's just as a quick, their solos. We did briefly mention Devil Dogs are amazing and really help in this army that doesn't. necessarily like to be up close. A lot of their profiles, unlike Caledonia, which have lots of smoke and lots of stabby, these guys don't. These guys tend to want to hit you with template weapons and long range. The Devil Dogs make up for that. So those, for example, are really great. Desperados are some of the best motorcyclists in the game. Having a mimetism, Sixth Sense chain rifle with a assault pistol +1 burst for 7 points is really, really good. So they're great. And then, of course, hard cases are probably one of my favorite units in the game. 12 points.
I was about to say, you've always been a fan of hard cases.
12 points for a decoy infiltration camo marker with a light shotgun is money. Oof. Especially when they're Fizz 13 and you don't care if you just like roll the dice to get them across the table. Like, you're just like, I don't care. And then, of course, who can forget Van Zandt?
Van Zandt, yeah.
Although Van Zandt is no longer the Van Zandt that we all used to know and love, because we now
Oil
have,
Baron Van Zandt.
We now have Mirage 5 and Rajats, who can sort of, and Carlotta, who can kind of do it better than he can, but he was the first, and we can definitely appreciate. We can definitely appreciate him for what he's contributed to the the game as a whole.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, the faction is great. I think it's a really good space. If I wanted to play Ariadna, this and Cosmo would probably be the two I would run to first. Honestly,
I think they're the Ariadna that feels like the most like a professional army.
Yeah, that's actually probably right. Yeah, I would say they have a lot of coherency.
Everyone can work together, right? There's this like cool, everything sort of just works.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll move on to our third one, which is the Russian version of
Tartary Army Corps.
What do we got here? What's going on?
Piss and rain outside.
Yeah,
okay.
So we'll start with the wildcards as per usual. The veteran Kazakhs, I think these guys have been around for many editions and most people are aware of them. They're pretty fucking good. So, basically they're heavy infantry, non-hackable, BS13 with mimetism 3, so that often that common combination which makes a good gunfighter. Furthermore, they have no wounding cap with shock immunity, so it means even though they have pseudo 2 wounds. They got 6 Sense, which is nice, and they have Veteran and Courage, which is useful as well. Willpower 14, which is good as well. No BTS, but Armor 4. So pretty good so far. Then we have some good loadouts. The standout being the AP HMG. It is really expensive now. After going through all the Ariadna sectorials that we have tonight, 46 points is a lot of points.
For the
but you are getting what you pay for with him.
I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying but like in contrast to like some of the stuff we've seen tonight, 46 points is fucking that's a Shen territory. That's a Shang-Chi territory. Like he's great, but like just in an Ariadna context, it's like
he does have a lot of kit that bumps him up for sure. Yeah,
for sure. The other standout profile would probably be either the X-Visor T2 rifle or the paramedic.
Yep. Sure.
Considering his Whip 14, T2 rifle's great. Obviously, his Whip 14 means he's going to be great at pushing buttons, and likely with paramedic he'll get some bonuses there. So that's one of the wildcards, and you can have up to 3 in a fire team as wildcards. The other wildcard is Colonel Voronin. I was going to bring him up now as well. Now he is your kind of go-to lieutenant. So first of all, he has 22 close combat with martial arts level 2, guard, and 6 Sense. His close combat weapon is AP close combat. So he's not slouch in close combat, and he's not really. And to assassinate him in close combat, it's kind of a coin flip, really. In terms of ballistic skill, 11, nothing special there. 13, Whip 14. No armor, no BTS. Really, really soft. Any sort of template, any win, like a cough, and he might die. Though he does get Strategos level 1 and a T2 boarding shotgun, which is a fucking cool profile. Any thoughts from you guys on Voronin?
He also did you mention he gets sensor?
Oh, he does get sensor. Yeah, sorry, he does get
which is
sensor
cool.
as well.
Yeah,
I mean, he counts as a line Kaz at a veteran. I think we'll find when we go through TAC that purity is certainly not their strong suit.
It's not.
I mean, the one rare thing about Ariadna or the TAC compared to the rest of Ariadna is it's not difficult to get chain of command. So who cares?
Yeah, it's not.
He dies.
Yeah,
He dies.
Yeah, and you get +1 command token, and you get some access to veteran troops. So to be honest, having him die isn't such a big deal, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah,
I think he's a viable attack piece in missions like Armory and Panic Room because he's S4 actually. That's a big thing. He's S4.
he can't. He
So
can't get into the armory.
can't you squeeze?
No, you can't squeeze.
No,
Nope.
but you can in the other one, Panic Room.
Well, you can't. There's no squeezing in Panic Room. Just everything is. There's no narrow access in Panic Room. So
Yeah.
Anything can walk through Panic Room, but Armory you are limited to S2 or lower.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So in that case, maybe he's.
Well, he's still got that 8-inch range on his guard, so he can still stand at a door because he's so wide.
Yeah.
He can stand across the doorway and
Yeah.
just anything that comes within 8, he goes, I attack you with my close combat. I attack you with my close combat.
Yeah, potentially. And he can't dodge in there or go prone in there or anything like that. But either way, I think he's viable in like tight spaces where guard and T2 boarding shotguns will come into effect. I think there's something there, but anyway, he's just a wild card. So let's move on to our first link. Our first link being the aligned Kazakh fire team. Effectively, the only requirement is you have 1 line Kazakh. After that, you can have up to 5. You can also get Kazakh doctors in there who count as line Kazakhs for purity. You can get up to 1 frontovic, up to 1 dozer, which also counts as a line Kazakh. Again, keeping that purity. And finally, you can get the Beast Hunter FTO in there.
Wait, did you say dozer?
Dozer, yeah.
Oh, really? That doesn't show up on the thing that you've. Oh, okay. Someone's shown me an old one. That's okay because I'm looking at. I'm sharing a screen here and it doesn't have dozer in it. Is that new?
Oh no! You know what? I posted that up. There was literally an army update today.
Okay, yeah, I did think that there was an army update today because Bishi.
There was an army update today.
Thanks for Sam, who's on the chat right now, who noticed that and corrected me on that. So yeah, so now dozers. So this is wrong.
That's brand new.
Fuck off phone.
That's pretty cool. That's new.
Yeah. So yeah, the dozer is now a line Kazakh, which is I don't know if that's useful or not, but sure, I guess.
I haven't looked. Yeah, sure. Why not?
You get an engineer, I suppose.
Yeah, an engineer. Sure. But the main thing, so the first thing, the most common thing you see on the table is 4 line Kazakhs and a frontovic. So it's maybe worth just touching on the frontovics if you guys.
Yeah. You tell us what you're doing. You're the guy who wrote this notes down.
Yeah, sure. So the frontovic, if you're using it as an AR piece, I would be going the heavy rocket launcher because it's the cheapest and it still packs quite a punch. It's got mimeters -3 and veteran and armor 2 plus courage. I think that's pretty solid. In a 5-man link, that's BS13 mimeters and -3, and you're really not paying many points because the line Kazakhs can really offset the cost. If you want to get a little bit spicier and you're expecting smoke, maybe the MSV1 AP sniper might be the way to go. You are paying 30 points for that though instead of the 21. So, but you're paying less SWC. So it really depends how you want to balance it. The other thing is you can always get Voronin in there and you will keep the purity of that link, which is nice. The other thing is it can be a Harris. That doesn't have to be your core. So if you just want to give your vet Kazakh an extra burst and carry maybe 2 line Kazakh specialists with you, like 2 paramedics, for 10 points or something like that, viable as well. So you're getting a burst 5 AP HMG on a mimetism model whilst carrying 2 specialists with you up the table. I think that's pretty reasonable. So yeah, so if you're attacking, maybe the vet Kazakh. If you're defending, maybe the frontovic. You can also bring in a doctor into that link, obviously, like we said, the line Kazakh doctor. He's
Mhm.
going to help you stand up your frontovic should they go down. The one thing, as Kevin says, I think line troops are really good when they have template weapons. I definitely agree with you there, Kevin. You can get a Beast Hunter FTO or some, I guess, template defense, but then you're giving up that purity. But I guess if you're having a frontovic in there in anyway, you're giving up the purity anyway, so it's worth it in my mind.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think just wanted to mention quickly on the dozer. I don't know if this is a new profile or not, but there's a profile now for the dozer that has a blitzen, which is
yep, yeah,
sexy.
not bad.
Has that always been there? As far as I don't know if it's always been there or not. I've never
Nah,
looked
I've
at.
never really looked.
I have to go back at the look at the old profiles. There's one thing, especially because I like TAC, where I feel that if you wanted to run a line Kazakh with a wild carded in, like a 5-man link with a wild carded in, or a frontovic or a wild carded in vet Kazakh, because you've got that mimetism there. I don't think you're really losing much, and you are gaining a decent amount by having that one extra BS.
Yeah,
Because you're offsetting, unless the fire team you're fighting also has mimetism, you're offsetting their fire team bonus, and now you've just got a BS 14 really good shot,
yes,
that Kazakh decent armor. So I think
yeah,
I think that it gets the same for the frontovic. If you've got mimetism, losing that purity is not such a hit. It's mainly when you lose purity in things like Yujing's invincible
yeah.
links, where if you fuck around with the purity there, you really are losing a lot.
Yeah, like having
Mm.
this. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, having the frontovic BS13 AP sniper is not bad when you've got mimetism. Yeah, it makes up for the
Yeah.
lack of the 2 BS you lose.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I guess one of the other things I don't know how SWC hungry TAC are, but you could even have 2 missile line Kazakhs plus Voronin and plus 2 other
A little bit.
Kazakhs. Yeah, so that's pretty, and that'd be a cheap way to have 2 BS 14
14.
missile launchers just looking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you need 2. I think just 1 as a cheap
Yeah.
link is
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, one's fine.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea of the Beast Hunter FTO. Sure, it will be a regular. Sure, you can't spend it on the link team, but as a heavy flamethrower with an AP mine deployed around the link team, it's not a bad way of defending it because, as you said, you don't have any templates, and then just having like a 5-man link with a although yeah, I guess you lose your purity, so your BS12, which just becomes less good. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
not.
but if you're losing it in the first place,
Well, no,
Yeah,
I was gonna go with like full line Kazakh core,
yeah, gotcha.
and then
yeah, I guess.
Keep
yeah,
in mind, the Beast Hunter's Mind will help you with your shell games, with your
Yeah,
Spetsnaz and
with
whatever
TAC.
else you have in the back line.
yeah, true. So I guess you
Well,
don't need to have that as your yeah. All right,
yeah.
what have we got
So
next?
next is the veteran fire team. So this is veteran Kazakhs, Frontovics, and 112 FTOs. So this can be pure, as Frontovics and veteran Kazakhs are both pure, and Voronin, if he joins in here, he's pure as well.
Well,
Now,
he counts as a veteran.
he counts
Yeah.
as a veteran. So yeah, you can keep purity. The only way you'll lose purity in this link team is if you include a 112. In terms of this one, to be honest, you can do a pain train, like a semi-pain train. I think basically you can do a frontovic focused pain train with maybe a vet Kazakh as a spearhead. It's kind of like a throwback to the N3 style fire teams where you have, it gets pretty pricey pretty quick. But you are packing a real punch. You're packing up to BS 14 or 16, depending how hard you go. with Mimetism 3 on multi-wound troops, with a paramedic in there as well, being a frontovic, potentially. So I think, yeah, I think this has legs. Not the sort of thing I would play, but basically, let's just look at some of my notes. But basically, I guess if you take Voronin for a run as well, you can bring the T2 T2 shotgun and guard up the board with quite a lot of fire defense. The frontovics do all have assault pistols, so they actually don't mind push up the board. And the frontovic engineer profile is pretty cool because it's got the heavy rocket launcher in there as well.
Light rocket launcher.
Is it light rocket launcher or heavy rocket launcher? Sorry.
The
engineer's
light.
Light, yeah, sorry, yeah, that's the one. And the thing is, if you're doing that pain train and you lose your lieutenant, you don't care because you got so much veteran in there. So that's why Voronin, that's another thing that makes Voronin potentially viable in that link. What do you guys think of that link? Anything you guys see that I might have missed?
Pack's not the cheapest. I think this
Oh,
fire
yeah.
team is just a bit too expensive to
Agreed.
realistically run. I kind of agree with you, maybe running the Harris, but like a Vet Kazakh and like 2 FTOs, or the Vet Kazakh and FTO and maybe the Colonel or something like that.
Yeah.
I can see that's worth it.
You're right. There's 2 FTOs there.
Yeah, you can run 2
Shit.
FTOs.
Nice. Okay.
So that makes it decently cheap. A good way of potentially having like like 2 Vet Kazakhs with HMGs and kind of having it cheapish. But ultimately, I think of the sectorials, I think when we take a look at what stands out outside of fire teams, TAC has it in droves. So
yeah, I think one of the big questions is going to be kind of what Kevin asks about the Shaw's Varsity quite often is, does it need the fire teams? And that's something we can discuss at the end. But, that was just to preface that a little bit. So yeah, I think that link has like there might be potential there, but I don't think you're doing 5-man. I think you're doing 3.
Yeah.
And even then, it's like it really has to kind of fit the list.
Yeah,
We'll move on to the Dynamo
definitely.
link.
I was just gonna say, I would agree. Yeah. Like I think I can see a nice Harris with a veteran Kazakh and 2 frontovics, or even like the 2 112s. Although you might as well just do a line Kazakh link at that point. But yeah, no, they're good profiles, and yeah, you're right with the veteran. It's not bad way of insulating yourself against loss of lieutenant. Although we do have chain of command in the faction, which you might actually take because it's kind of good.
It's not hard, and it's not hard to get, and not hard to protect.
Yeah.
All right, Dynamos.
Dynamo link.
Fuck yeah, these
Cool.
guys are
Dynamos,
amazing.
they're so fucking good. Okay, so first things first, Dynamos. Let's just look at the profile. So the standout profile is
I
3.
really wish my company hadn't blocked the armor builder.
Anyway, oh yeah, you can't even look.
Yeah, I can't even look. I can look on my phone. I'm looking at my phone currently, but I can't bring it up for our Patreon. They just have to look and follow along at home.
Right.
I mean, it's
for me, go on.
Go on. No, go on, man.
I was gonna say the standard profile for me is the paramedic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, the AP Spitfire is good. No getting around that. But the paramedic has so much utility between the smoke grenades, the mine dispensers, the ability to get people up, and I guess the threat of the fast specialist and the threat of templates for enemies getting too close and personal. I think he's really good. I think in terms of a link team, in the link team sense, I don't know that the Dynamos benefit from being linked. I think their utility is to support.
Dropping 2 mines with the dispenser.
No, they double shot anyway, so you get 2 mines anyway.
Yeah, they double shot anyway. Yeah, exactly.
So I guess in ARO, yeah, sure, but in active they're double shot, so they're burst 2.
Yeah, they're burst.
Oh,
actually, yeah.
Okay, so you fire your entire load.
Anyway,
yeah, every time. Go. Exactly right. Yeah.
I mean, it's a different trick to what we were talking about with the Maverick. I think the Maverick trick is better, where you use the the shotgun through the smoke.
Yeah.
But with these guys, you put mines,
Yes.
run a dude, run
Yes.
your forward observer is probably what I even maybe take like the boarding shot, the paramedic and the forward observer for the assault pistol, run them through, and your opponent goes, okay, do I dodge to mine and try and dodge his shot,
Yeah,
or do I
exactly.
shoot him and tank potentially 3 mines to the face?
Yeah, I think you were saying the paramedic. I think the forward observer is my favorite profile outside of the AP Spitfire, because that's your gunfighter. But having a rifle and a flash pulse is no joke when you got mimetism, and also an assault pistol for that burst 5 in a link. You can just run at things, and remember they're dogged, so they can keep going. They can go come around the corner, burst 5, eat that. Oh, you didn't die? Try it again.
If you have the 112 with you, if at the end of your attack run you take 1 wound but you haven't died and you're in dogged, you could spend that 1 order and just heal them up for that next turn.
Oh, they have to be unconscious though.
Well, you just ignore the.
You can't heal dogged. You have to go unconscious.
You just go unconscious if that's the case.
Yeah, but then
if that's your last order, just.
But then you're whip 13 and you don't have a cube. But yeah, I think like the AP Spitfire, the paramedic, and the forward observer are 3 really great profiles and can do a lot of things. I mean, like, can you imagine just being like, I mean, I don't think it'll happen that often, but being in ARO and then like someone comes around the corner and you just shoot out 6 mines. You'd be like, ah! It's like it's like a squid shooting ink. Just, just like all 3 of them just go, ah! And they're like, oh no, now I've got to deal with that. Or a smoke grenade launcher, because you can split them because it's targetless. You can, like, one guy can do mine dispenser, the other one can do a smoke grenade, and then the other one can shoot, right? The other one can't shoot because it's all got to be targetless, I think.
Yeah.
But either way, that's still burst 2 smoke grenades. It's burst 2 smoke grenades or burst 2 mine dispenser. It's really nice.
Yeah. Well, with the Dynamo though, one thing, but I think in the context of the faction, I think the Dynamo is like a support piece, and he wants to be on wherever he needs to be on the battlefield. And I think having him in a Harris kind of restricts him a little bit. Maybe a duo is more viable, but I think a Harris might be a bit.
No, I think you're right.
Potentially,
but it's the same Maverick problem where do you put 3 S4 bases? Like, there's lots of tables where you're just like, I can't put this down anywhere. It's just going to be in the open now. Or they're clustered behind one wall. And you're like, I hope no one's got an impersonator. Like, it's just really, like, it can be real bad.
Yeah, and Kev, I think the one reason why potentially the Dynamo paramedic is sort of a standout profile is for missions like cryogenics for supplies and all these things that give bonuses to paramedics.
And
right? You drop smokes, supplies, you drop mines, you run up, you grab your shit, you come back, it takes you like 4 orders.
Yeah, stupid. I get I feel you. That's really I feel you. What the who am I? Sorry.
I feel you, brother.
Okay, I feel you, brother.
We're all getting delusional.
I'm falling in love with Ariadna. That's the delusion.
It's
true.
That's
it's
true.
cool.
So am I. I've enjoyed. Oh man.
Except French.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway. Except the French. But anyway, and then the last.
Our favorite link.
Absolutely. The Ratnik and Frontovic fire team. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So I actually think. Okay, can we just discuss the Ratnik profiles?
The Fatnik.
First, the Fatnik. 50 points and 1.5 SWC gets you the greatest loadout you'll ever see.
Explain.
AP Spitfire, +1 burst. Panzerfaust, +1 burst. Fireman Spear, +1 burst. AP heavy pistol, trench hammer, and trench hammer CCW. That thing, that is a lot of like weaponry. Like USARF, eat your heart out. Then for 47 points, you get the heavy rocket launcher +1 burst and a heavy shotgun. The first thing I'll point out is in a Harris, you have the ability to get a burst 6 AP Spitfire.
Yeah, there's only one other Harris in the game that can, or one of the link team in the game that can do that, and that's the Kriza. And
That's
then,
absolutely
yeah.
right. So that's actually. I got a quick question. With Panzerfaust +1 breast, it's still only two ammo, right?
Correct.
But once you
yes.
shoot it once an arrow, it's gone.
It's gone.
Or once you shoot an active, it's gone. And in
Gone.
active, you don't get burst 3, do you?
No, it's
Like,
burst
you
plus
can't.
one burst.
Yeah,
so it's burst 2.
Yeah, but as in, like in the Harris, you don't get 3 shots. You only get 2.
Sorry?
You can't shoot more than the
yes.
ammo you've got.
Yeah, you've only got 2 shots. Yeah, they have FAQ'd that because some people were like, it's plus 1 burst. Every burst is 2 shots, which means I've got 6 in there. I'm like, no, you don't. Yeah, it's
That's
just
what I
you've
thought,
just got 2, so you just get 1. That's why you've got plus 1 burst Panzerfaust and plus 1 burst Flaming Spear, so you've got the option to do
what
1
I
of
thought.
each. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what.
Because the Flaming Spears are disposable as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
And for 5 points, you can get the new net rod, the track mule with the activator and baggage, so you can reload.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So,
sticking on the Harris, I think it's viable. I think 2 Ratniks and Voronin is something I would
Why
do.
Voronin, of all things?
Yeah.
well, he's cheap. He's cheap,
He's
mainly.
cheap.
Oh,
really,
because
brings down
he's like
average
the
points.
cheapest wild card you can put in there. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah,
but also
okay,
it
fair
gives
enough.
you short range defense in the sense of guard T and T2.
Just 3 Ratniks. Just fuck it. 150
Fuck it,
points,
just
3
go, yeah.
Ratniks.
Yeah.
Go.
I would probably say 1 Ratnik, Pontific paramedic, and Voronin.
What? Wait. Why are we seeing Frontovic? What am I seeing?
Because you can put Frontovics in there.
Oh my
Oh,
shit!
see, there's another
That's
thing
another
that's
change. That's another change.
What the fuck?
Oh, this is coming to you live,
the
folks.
fuck?
So CB just had a army update today, and I noticed that, or I didn't notice, or Patreon Sam noticed that Bashi can now join the beta trooper, and I'm like, and I went onto the forums, onto the Warcore forums, I was like, hey guys, fucking army updated, but there's no change log. The fuck, what's going on? And then we've just found 2 things that have changed. Frontovics can go in a Ratnik fire team. That's so good.
In one sectorial.
Wow! In one sectorial,
So,
you
yeah.
found like 2 things.
I would pop the Frontovic with Colonel Voronin and 1 Ratnik, if you really wanted to do that.
Oh man, this is so cool.
Now I got to run the
Anyway,
Ratnik.
listeners
I
will be like,
prefer the days when he was useless, so I could just ignore him.
I know, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Now, anyway,
no, this is good. This is very good.
you can bring an engineer, doesn't matter, but you can bring a paramedic with him now. And
Well, you could do both paramedic and engineer because he is one of the few hackable dudes.
Shit,
actually, but
that's
to be
really
honest,
good.
I don't know what. I wouldn't bring in an engineer simply because you get 8-point impetuous engineers with smoke who can
True.
keep up with him.
Yeah, true.
But anyway, that's the extent of the fire teams. I think the Ratnik one does have legs, but you're really playing against the grain of what attack are good at. Personally, I think which is camouflage and shell games.
Sure.
Yes, so that's what we're probably about to say, is that TAC have a lot of good pieces that just run by themselves. Like the Spetsnaz, Tank Hunters, not so much Scouts, the Ermendinos, Antipode Assault Packs, Dog Warriors, Vasily, Pavel, Carmen.
Carmen, my gosh, she's so good.
Strelix, sorry. Like, that's a good half of the profiles in the game that are unlinkable and are incredible.
Don't need it.
But
That's right.
it's a lot of irregular orders. That's the one thing that does put a handbrake on the faction.
They're regular orders.
Dog Warriors are regular. Mendinos are regular. Carmen's are regular. Antipodes are regular.
Right.
All those things are irregular.
No, antipodes aren't irregular. Antipodes are irregular with TAC awareness.
Okay, sure. Okay, I stand corrected. Okay, they're regular attack. Yep. Okay. Yep.
It's only Carmen and Dog Warriors.
And Mendinos.
Oh, and Mendinos.
But look, I genuinely think the
Beastars.
Frontovics are great. The Line Kazakhs are great. Veteran Kazakhs, Frontovics are great.
I mean,
Dynamos are great.
the thing is, the Vet Kazakh is your main attack piece, right? He is your
He
him and the Ratnik are the two things that will like go like, I'm going to kill this thing, but the Vet Kazak's better at it really because he's mimicked some better range bands.
Yes.
They're your main like face-to-face gunfighters.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they're your main attack piece because I would put like things like the Antipode Assault Squad or Pavel or Strelok in that camp.
Strelok are not attack
I
pieces
will-
though. They're defensive mid-range pieces.
So
I wouldn't be
yeah,
attacking
I
them.
they're more
mean-
defensive.
I mean, yeah.
Oh yeah, so yeah, you're right.
I mean,
you're right. So yeah, like
Spetsnaz
Pavel.
is probably what you're thinking of, maybe a Spetsnaz, right? Because
Yeah.
like, they've got
Yeah,
the
you're right.
HMG,
Spetsnaz.
but the problem is again, like everything outside of the Vet Kazak and the Ratnik are one wound with like, armor 2
Exactly.
that will go down real quick if they roll bad. Where at least the Vet Kazak and the Ratnik have an option to
I mean,
keep fighting.
if
The other thing with the
if you're playing Ariadna and not expecting that shit to happen, I don't know. I can't help you.
Yeah,
that's
no, fair enough.
Ariadna's thing.
Well, the
Play
thing, the
another
other thing with
faction.
Yeah, the other thing with the Ratnik though, if you think of him as the tank, so you can, if you coordinate order with him, he still burst 2 or burst 3, depending what profile you take. He still bursts 3 Spitfire in the active, and
Yeah.
you still have 3 other camo markers which are just wiggling, and your opponent has to just shoot the Ratnik who's armor 6 or 9 in cover,
Yeah. So
while the other 3 camo markers hit you for free.
yeah, you do have that great option of going. I'm going to do a coordinated target order with the Ratnik and 3 other camo markers. You either react, and you hold. Like you either shoot the Ratnik and everyone else shoots at you, or you hold and they don't reveal, and the
one.
Ratnik just blows your head off.
No, that's not how it, works.
No,
So
that's not how it works.
they all have to reveal.
They all have to reveal. They're all revealing, but you have to pick which camo marker you're reacting against.
Yeah, the camo markers
You don't
can't.
know what
can't
they
Oh, okay, right. Sorry. Okay, I'm thinking N3. My bad. I haven't
Yeah.
dealt with that one for a while. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, the other advantage of the Vet Kazak, by the way, just staying in the back Kazak, is he can be your lieutenant. He can be your lieutenant and your super gunfighter quite well because, because often that way you're saving a slot almost. I guess with Voronin or like a line Kazakh lieutenant, it's like they take up a slot and they're just sitting there. Whilst the Vet Kazakh really very much is going to be useful throughout the game.
Yeah, you
always.
you could do that. Yeah, because at least you've still got Vasily, who could be your chain of command, and he's worth. I reckon he's worth taking as the is it T2 sniper.
Every list, every list that I've created, I've put Vasily chain of command because he is so easy to protect. He is a fucking amazing shot.
Though. He's expensive.
He is, but like tack.
For
You pay. But he's good. He's really good.
Yeah, he's good.
He's a lot of
and it helps with his shell games and all that sort of thing.
Okay, let's move on.
I'm interested. I'm interested to try those Harrises that you put up.
Yeah, I think. All right, we are getting on for time, so let's finish this one off.
For sure.
Cosmoflot.
Power through.
All right, sorry guys, we didn't have a list for TAC because
Cosmoflot.
Val didn't make one, but I do have one. Do have one for Cosmoflot. So let's get into Cosmoflot. All right, okay. This okay. So wildcards first of all. There's a lot. So we've got the Volkolak who counts as a Rokot. That'll be important later. Patcher that counts as a Rokot, also important. Stranik is fine. Unknown Ranger, no affiliation here. And First Strike Dawn. So first thing to mention about Cosmoflot is they are the what's the word I'm thinking of? All-star faction of Ariadna. Basically, they take all the good stuff and then put it into and just like kind of go into one faction. So this is what we're going to find out about this faction. So I'll go into what the wildcards do in the actual link teams. I think is probably the best way of working it out. But that's what the wildcards are, and then we're gonna go talk about the fire teams. So Rokot fire team is the first one. So this is the mainstay of Cosmoflot. So what you have is you have minimum 1, maximum 5 of rocots, which are the line troopers. A minimum of 0, maximum of 2 of mechanics, which count as rocots. They're like engineers that were added pretty recently, and they're really nice. We'll get into that in a second. 0 to 1 of Kazakh doctors, 0 to 1 of a war driver, and 0 to 1 of, hey, here he is again, Wolfgang Amadeus Wolf. He is back. So how do we break this one down? So let me just bring up Cosmoflot while I'm looking at it. Rocot. Okay, rocots are pretty basic. They're like 8 points, chain rifles. But what they lack in goodness, they make up in cheapness, right? So they're 8 points, and what we often see here is 4 rocots and Mr. Volkolak is often what we'll see in the current landscape, because of Volkolak counts as a rocot. And we'll just talk about the Volkolak briefly here. He is a 1 wound, no wounding cap, total immune wolver of sorts, with BS12, and has the option of essentially a missile launcher or a HMG. Often in the defensive capability, you will see him running a missile launcher, which gives you a BS15 total immune, armor 4, effective 2 wound missile launcher. Which is it's 1.5 SWC and 40 points, but when you've got 4 mooks that are 8 points each backing him up, it's not breaking the bank. He doesn't have any mimetism, it doesn't have any MSV, but that doesn't necessarily matter when you're arm 4, arm 7 in cover, and you don't care about AP or explosive or DA or any of that stuff. So he's really good. You will see him a lot, and I would recommend having him if you're planning on taking a defensive fire team, because the only other way of making a defensive fire team with what's here is actually you can't, because rocots have no long range weapons, neither do mechanics, Kazakhs, war drivers, or Wolfgang. So that's kind of your guy. You could, let me just go back to my notes. On the defensive front, you can put patchers in there. Patchers are essentially like heavy infantry with heavy flamethrowers, but they're not necessarily that useful in a defensive fire team that has rocots, because a lot of them have chain rifles anyway, so you're not necessarily making up anything there. Mechanics are really good for defensive fire teams like this, because mechanics have
17 points.
There are 17 points for an SMG, decharges, but importantly, EM mines with mine layer.
That's so good.
So this gives Ariadna, a faction that doesn't have much EM, a potential of putting up to 2 EM mines out there in your deployment zone on deployment to protect your defensive link. So which is excellent, really, really good. Definitely recommend doing that, at least one. The Kazakh doctor isn't really going to help you too much, because you've got a Rocot paramedic, and the high fizz of most of the models you want to revive mean that the Kazakh doctor probably doesn't make the cut, because he also doesn't make the link. He doesn't keep the link pure. The war driver is fine. You can put him in the link team, but because the war driver has Sixth Sense natively, he's not really getting any benefit from being in this link team, so I wouldn't be bothering him. And then Wolfgang, unfortunately, I wouldn't see him in there unless you wanted to run an aggressive team without bonuses, which has merit, but again, Wolfgang is just one of these things that I don't see often. But he does. Exactly, yeah. So, and then sort of on the wildcard front, you could run Unknown Ranger in this link team, but I reckon if you want to run a defensive core, you just want to keep this nice and cheap. 4 Rocot, or like 3 Rocots, Unknown Ranger, and a mechanic is probably enough for you. Then we've got our Cosmoflot. Sorry, do you guys have any points on that?
Nah, that missile launcher with total immunity, armor 4 is fucking respectable.
Yeah.
Jesus
Or
Christ.
even attack, like having him as like a semi-attack, semi-defense with the HMG is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
and we haven't got a model for the missile launcher yet. It's only the HMG. I'd hope to see that out soon. But
We don't have the mechanics either, do we?
No, we don't. No, they're pretty new.
Oh,
I could definitely see a reason to run the HMG, but I just typically have seen it as a defensive fire team, and I can unfortunately only really base my analysis of what I've seen as opposed to what I've played, because I haven't played this
Yeah.
army, but I've just going off of what I can see from the base, from the surface, I guess. All right, so Cosmo Fire Team is the next one. Oh, okay, right. So we can have a minimum. Sorry, you can either make it with a Scots Guard, FTO, or Frontifix, and minimum, basically maximum 5, either of them, but neither of them give you pure bonuses.
If you mix them, yeah.
Yeah, if you mix them. Sorry, yeah. I'm not gonna see. You're not gonna see use as a core here. You might get an elite Harris out of it because it does give you good weapon options and wild cards. You know, you can wild card in Unknown Ranger. You can wild card in a Stranic for a Doctor. You can wild card in a Patcher for some extra wounds, or a Volkolak. The fact that they both have mimetism is nice, so you can create like a decent Harris for like 75 points with some good weapons.
Yes.
So something like, but the problem is 30 points for one wound model is tough in this faction to justify because there's lots of units fighting for your attention here. You know, an example you could run the AP Spitfire, either of them, because they both have AP Spitfires. Actually, something to mention on these two profiles is they're very, very similar. Like they're both BS, they're both the same BS, both the same armor,
the same
mimetism, almost the same weapon loadout pretty much, but there's slight differences. So you could run the AP Spitfire. Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, I guess the Frontifix have assault pistols across the board, while Scott's got, I guess, on the missile launcher.
Okay, yeah. Something. So you could run like the AP Spitfire of one of them, the Stranic Doctor as a cheap thing, and then like a Patcher maybe to keep costs down. Unfortunately, the Unknown Ranger is just better though, right? He's just, you know, you could just like have the Unknown Ranger and two Rocots, it's fine. Next up, we have the Cosmos Soldats Fire Team. So this is really fun. I'm really glad that they have allowed this to happen. So in the old...
This used to be only a duo, didn't it?
This did used to be only a duo, so now we have a Harris here, and this is really great. So you can have 1 to 2 Cosmos Soldat and 0 to 1 Frontovic. Now, the Cosmos Soldat is, for those of you who don't know, because honestly, you won't have seen them on the table very much, they are a BS-13 Armor 6, 1 wound with no wounding cap, heavy infantry. That's hackable. That's an S2 hackable model. That's Armor 6. The standout profiles for me are the AP HMG +1 damage, and the T2 rifle +1 burst with heavy flamethrower specialist. So in a link team, that's a burst 5 AP, damage 16 AP HMG.
What the fuck?
Or a burst 5 T2 rifle.
You don't rate the MSV1 portable autocannon?
I do not. No, I think the portable autocannon is a shit gun for shit people. Sorry,
best 3.
I just don't like it. I'll tell you why in a second. Sorry, the autocannon I'm not sold on. The MSV one is useful, but as an ARO piece, it's just too expensive. As an active piece, it's just not got enough burst for me to win firefights because it doesn't have any mimetism of its own, and because of that, it's just not likely to win those firefights. Whereas the AP HMG will, and then in up close when you got a burst 5 T2 rifle, that's great. That's money. Like you could easily run the AP HMG, the T2 rifle specialist, and then like a cheap like Stranic Doctor just to like revive them back from no winning cap, and that gives you 2 specialists, got range bands from 0 to 32, and the only thing you've got to worry about is hackers. So yeah, I think
you argue.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, go for it.
Could you argue that you can afford to lose a fight with the portable autocannon with armor 6 and 2 wounds?
Yes, I think you could afford to. I mean, like, if you're
Potentially.
okay, put it this way: if your tag's best weapon was burst 3, would you be taking firefights with it?
Yes. Maybe.
Would you be okay? Here's a better one. If you needed to get rid of a flash pulse bot
Mm-hmm.
with your burst 3 tag, would you want to?
Yeah, it's like maybe not.
That's where I have
Yeah,
problems. Like burst 4 just gives
fair,
me
fair.
gives
No,
me that
fair enough.
confidence
Yep,
to go. I'm
makes
on
sense.
like a tag would be I'm on
Yeah,
11s, burst
probably.
4, I'll take the fight. But if I'm burst 3, and especially this
Yeah,
guy's on 10s, I'm like, ugh, I don't know if I want to take that fight
yeah.
unless
Yeah,
it
I get what you're saying about the portable autocannon. I mean, you do have a lot of smoke, so it's nice to be able to shoot through it.
although
And the consequences of like the portable autocannon hitting is pretty big. But I get what you're saying.
although actually I'm talking about arse because he's got MSV1, so he actually ignores the mimetism of the flash pulse
Yeah.
bot. So actually, I might be wrong on that. The MSV1 does offset some poor engagements. I just think that, yeah,
You just,
it's
you hate
It's
and to get burst 3, you need a Harris, and you're paying so many points for it.
yeah,
You may as well just
and
take a Chernobog and be done with it.
yeah, and it's very similar to the Mortimer where his T2 profile just like when you can get over how good his HMG is, you look at his T2 and go, that's a nasty gun in of itself. That's a nasty profile in of itself.
yeah.
Um,
The other thing about the hospitals with all that is there is an LT option here if you want to. Like if you want to have the APHMG as your LT, you can do it. And
That's
you
it.
have chain of command in the faction to back it up. Unfortunately, though, I think it is outshone by cheaper links, but it is something I'd like to see on the table. So that's that. Then we've got the Chernobog team, which is pretty straightforward. It's just Chernobog. You can have 2 of them, I guess, if you want to. You could put
you slap a patcher with it.
You could put a patcher in there, I guess, just as a bit of close in defense, but it's not really going to help you that much.
Oh, wait, I thought the patcher was an engineer.
Patchers are not engineers, no.
Okay, then
Caden might be an option because he's not hackable and he can climb up on rooftops and kill Morans. Maybe that's an option, but not something I would bother with. But Chernobyls in general, yes, but duos of them, no. Then we have Varangian fireteams. So we are minimum 1, maximum 4 Varangians, and then up to 1 of Wallace, who is also Varangian. So I've written here. Huh?
It's the same shit as the fucking Galwegians.
It is, but it's better here. So this is where we get juicy and where most of the fire teams can be found with Unknown Ranger. Varangians are AVA. So bear in mind, Varangians are AVA 4, so be aware. So that you don't like max out Varangians. But what you can do is you can go Unknown Ranger, a Varangian or 2, and a Patcher. So that you can either make a Harris. You can make a Harris here. Or if you want to go aggressive, you can make this a 4-person core, which then gives you that magic 6th sense that the Unknown Ranger can shoot through.
Yes.
You can. Wallace also can appear here as a great place to keep him safe as your LT. Like if you want to just insulate him with Varangians, like you can do in Caledonia, that's fine. You can also duo this as well if you want to, just to have a couple of Varangians on corner duty, because it cancels their impetuous and they are armor 2, so it gives them like armor 5 dogged, kind of useful.
Absolutely.
But it's just whatever. The problem is like in Caledonia, there's a bit of a push and pull here with wanting to use Wallace because you have chain of command, but then not wanting to use him because you want to keep your stuff regular, because there is, of course, quite a lot of irregular orders in this faction, so it's a tough one. But you've got the option, I guess. So like, and I guess like that leads into me talking about the chain of command, which is the Zenit, right? So the Zenit is a 30-point half an SWC for a decoy camouflage AP marksman rifle. which is great because you can use the decoy to obfuscate things that are off the table, like your Power Commando, not necessarily your Mirage 5, because you'd have to have more off the table than one model, but you could do it. Unfortunately, anyone who has a brain will probably realize what you're doing. But it's only really worth taking if you're running Wallace as an aggressive LT, or if you're taking the Cosmo Soldat or something like that as your LT. And then unfortunately, like the Zenit 7 being 30 points and half an SWC really fights for a slot in Cosmo, because you've got so many really, really good profiles that want to fight in that same points bracket.
Yeah.
So like this fire team here is where I would possibly be throwing Unknown Ranger, because he can't get purity here anyway, unlike in USARF. But being able to put like him, a couple of Varangians, and just like slingshot them up the board seems good, because Unknown Ranger's a specialist, so he can push buttons. Varangians are throwing smoke and covering his back. If you want to make it a 4-person link to make it a core, I think it's really worth it. But then you've got to then obviously sacrifice having your Volcalat core. So I think there's a little bit of decision making there, which is actually good from a sort of list building army perspective. It gives you that option. Anything you want to mention on the Varangian Guard fire team?
I think Varangian Guards could be argued to be like the second best warband in the game behind Dadarazi.
Oh yeah.
No, I think it's solid, dude. I think I think they're I think with the again you still have Caden you can just bring up. You can just do 4 Varangians and a bloody Patcher or Stranic just to kill them up if they go down. Like you got options, you really do.
And a quick thing on Wallace is, while in CHA you've got a couple of models that they're irregular. You kind of want to convert you need to convert their orders to, sorry, they're irregular. You want to convert their orders to regular, because they're not really going to end up using them like the Galwegians. But if you take a look at the irregulars in Cosmoflot, they're things like the polar bears, the bear pod, the Mirage. Really, the only ones that you might want to convert are
Ermandinos.
like the Ermandinos and the Cataran.
Yeah.
But to be honest, you don't need the Ermandinos for cheap like orders or anything like that, because you've got the Varangian. And the Catarans, you can probably just live with them being irregular, and either converting their orders or just using them to shoot.
Yeah, I actually
so
yeah.
I would honestly, because of the way it is, I'd almost just ignore William Wallace. Like,
Wow,
I don't think he adds a huge amount to this army necessarily, compared to all the other profiles that are there.
Yeah, one thing I just realized.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Val.
I was going to say one thing I think Wallace does, which I just recognize, is he hides the Cataran. As in,
I suppose.
Yeah,
I never realized that.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you are right on that irregular thing, because you're going to be using the irregular orders from the bear. You're going to be using the irregular orders from like the Catarans, or they're going to die before they get to use them anyway. Where it is important is when you have like 3. Even Ermandinos. No, even Ermandinos, because you're probably going to be using them to move up and push buttons, because they're specialists. So you're probably going to be using the irregular orders on them anyway.
Yeah, well, so then you don't even need to worry about converting them. So there's one unit that you might want to convert. And I just don't think... I'm just saying that way you can sort of ignore having the Zenit 7, because you're not going to take an obvious lieutenant.
I think the thing that you forget, though, is that you do get that free coordinated order every turn, which can be really nice for...
True.
Like, because I don't think there's any reason that you...
And the good thing about that coordinated order with him as the lieutenant is all those irregular dudes that you want to move up can now be part of that coordinated order.
Yes, that's kind of the thing I was thinking, is like, you can use it to advance like 2 bears, Wallace, and an Ermandino. Or you can probably use it actually to just recamouflage Usha to SAS and a Zenith, because he doesn't recamouflage, but he just idles, right? He would just be like, I can't do it, so I'll just idle.
Yeah.
Possibly,
exactly.
right? If you want to go down that road. But I get you. And when I did make a list for this faction, so you will find out what my list looks like. But we were talking before at the beginning of that this is a faction of all stars. So I think that's where there's a really good mix of units in here that that kind of feed into the general thoughts. So I do believe that Cosmo can run without link teams. I think that's very possible. Because they get all basically Bears, Duroc, Usha, Wallace, and Unknown Ranger are some of the best pieces found in Vanilla. So you can absolutely flex in that direction if you want to. But of course, the argument is, why not just run Vanilla, which is a good argument. But if you're in a 2-list format, you can have one list that's your like standard type list with your defensive link team, and then you can run another list that doesn't have link teams. So it gives you that ability to like run one list with link teams and one list without link teams. So I think it's definitely possible. It is a very hyper aggressive faction with so many attack vectors from your DZ with Bears, from your deployment zone with Margot and Duroc. You've got Usha who can over-infiltrate. You've got power commandos that can walk in from the side with AP Spitfire, SCS in the middle, and then you've still got like a really solid defensive ARO, and you've got Unknown Ranger who can just like kill things on demand. So it's just such a... But the thing is, though, they're all fighting for your orders. Like, you don't know where to put your orders, right? Because you don't have any real way of gaining additional orders outside of Wallace, right? As in for doing coordinated orders and converting irregular orders regular. You're often just tied to your 15 orders. Sometimes like 10 regular, 5 irregular, which means that you're like, well, what do I do with my orders? And it can really limit your ability to actually push out and develop it's like multiple attack vectors. You can have like one attack vector per turn because of your how hungry they are for orders.
But I think that the attack pieces are such quality that unless you're in a really sticky situation, that going, I'm going to try and use this piece this turn to achieve like 50 million things and put all my orders into them is viable. If you really need to kill something and you've got a quick Mirage, well, you just drop it in the back and you've got, Margot, who's a great shot, or you've got Duroc, who's a friggin' monster. All right, or you run your Bear Pod, or you run, I don't know, something that's good in camouflage, Usha.
Or
Pavel.
One of the issues with Mirage 5, a lot of people say, is because there's 66 points in 2 SWC.
Yeah,
they're not cheap.
No,
like
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, like, you often don't necessarily see them and an Unknown Ranger and your Volcalat, because that's what 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
it's like 5 SWC.
140.
And it's 5 SWC, so it's tricky. So there's lots of things fighting for your orders, but also your points. Like you say, Wallace, I think he doesn't need to be running this faction, but I think he still benefits if you do run him. But I wouldn't be running him in a link team. I think like you said, you don't need him to convert necessarily, but you do want him to be able to use coordinated orders to get the most out of moving things forward, like multiple Bears, multiple skirmishers moving up. I think it's really important. And then like that's what I've got. I've got a list I can show. Hey folks, so for some reason the last 15 minutes of the podcast got corrupted or cut off or something like that. I guess that's what happens when you run a 4-hour podcast on a crappy Dell laptop supplied by your company, so apologies for that. I think I was just going through the last of the Cosmoflot stuff and discussing the list I was going to share with you all. So I'll just go through it again, or go through it, I guess, because you won't hear it. So it's an all-comers list based on what we discussed, and it starts with the Volcolac missile launcher, a Rocot paramedic, a Rocot SMG, another Rocot SMG, this one's the lieutenant, and a mechanic mine layer with SMG, G charges, and an EM mine. So this is basic core, defensive core with the mechanic with the EM mine, and then your rocots, basically just providing orders. Then we have an SES forward observer, Usha McNeil, specialist operative with the +1 burst assault pistol, a bear pod heavy shotgun, an Armandino with an electronic, and then we switch to this, and then another Armandino with electronic. That's group 1, so that's 7 regular and 3 irregular. Then we have group 2, we have an Unknown Ranger with AP Spitfire, a Patcher with Vulcan Shotgun +1 burst, and a Varangian Guard. So this is a Harris, and then to finish off that group is a Polaris team. So the basic concept of this list is to have a defensive fire team that just sits there and provides orders for the bear pod to go and do bear pod things, and then you've got 2 Armandinos with electronics. The Armandinos are there to throw smoke, provide button pushers, corner guards, and the electronics are there to do throwaway discover attempts and to clear mines. And then group 2 is really your heavy lifting group, which provides the Unknown Ranger with your gunfighter, a Vulcan shotgun, a burst 4 Vulcan shotgun on the Patcher, which is really dangerous, especially when he's got climbing plus and 2 wounds, and then Varangian to provide you smoke. And then of course the Polaris team is like your backup bear / corner guard / like just, you know, turn 3 mop up piece. So I think this list is pretty standard for what I've seen of Kosmo so far, although it is not necessarily what I would like to run. This is just based on what we've discussed so far in the podcast. Then we did also discuss briefly the what do you call it? The vanilla duos. So I'll just bring them up real quickly here for everybody. There we go. So nothing really too exciting here. It's just the Ariadna duo fire teams. So it can be a Dynamo, a veteran Kazakh, Varangian, Mortimer, Scots Guard, Ratnik, Cosmo Soldat, Caden, Bounty Hunter, and Miranda. What we discussed in the podcast is basically the only thing that's really worth going here is a Varangian with something. So Varangian cancels the Impetuous and gives you a smoke thrower. You can combine it with the Caledonian Mortimer, who can give you NCO, as well as the Scots Guard, perhaps. Or a Ratnik and a Scots Guard to give you NCO and some close range ability, or Cosmo Soldat perhaps. There's nothing really too interesting there on that front. Basically that's it. Yeah. We did discuss the Dynamo as a potential duo, but nothing really too interesting, unfortunately. So with that, apologies that the end of the cast got cut off. I don't know what really happened there. The laptop just seemed to have been overloaded with too much awesome content, and it just didn't like it. So with that, you've been listening to Loss of Lieutenant. My name's Kevin. Good night.